right here, you're going to witness an absolute spectacle. Are you ready? Here we go. My name is Matty. You're listening to the No Nerds Were Harmed podcast. This is a podcast about movies, comics, games, and all things nerdy. I'm here with my co-host Tyler. We are also here with our producer Sam.
Hello.
Tyler, what do we have for everybody today?
We are going to be covering Nope, Jordan Peele's newest movie.
Yes, we are. We got nerd news for everybody. We're covering Nope. Like Tyler said, we got a spoiler-free, spoiler-filled area. We got a read, play, watch, telling you guys what we're reading, playing, and watching recently. And we're going to tell you what's on the next episode. With that being said, we're going to move right into our nerd news. I think I have a few more than Tyler, so I'm going to start us off. Keanu Reeves is doing, what do they call it, promoting for the DC Super Pets movie. And he was asked recently if he would ever be interested in being a live-action Batman. I'm not sure if you've seen.
Oh yeah, I saw this. I saw this clip.
I love this.
It's
clip.
typical Keanu.
And it's so good.
Like attitude.
He said, "It's always been a dream, but Pattinson's got Batman right now, and he's doing awesome.
Yeah.
So maybe down the road, maybe when they need an older Batman." And I loved it. I thought it was really nice. Would you be interested in seeing Keanu Reeves as a live-action Batman?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I guess if you're gonna do an old Batman though, like it's pretty much you're in like Batman Beyond kind of area where you're gonna bring him back. You know, it's like the dude in the chair kind of thing. And at that point, like just bring Keaton back, which is like what they might be gearing up to do anyways.
I can see that, yeah.
So like, I think unfortunately, although I think like Keanu Reeves probably could have killed Batman, like would have done an awesome Batman. I feel like it may be like he missed the window. It's like to see a new Batman and it's him. I don't know if like, and I love Keanu Reeves, but
I'm not a big Keanu Reeves fan.
Oh, I like Keanu a lot.
I don't think outside of maybe 2 movies, and even those 2 movies, I'm like, they probably could have got someone better. Even like John Wick, like I love John Wick. They're good action films, but the moment Keanu Reeves opens his mouth, I'm like, God damn it, just stop talking, please.
Dude, don't speak ill on the one, dude. You're talking about Neo, my guy. The one.
And even that, like, he's good. He fucking pulls everything off, but I don't want him as my Batman. But before they cast fucking Ben Affleck as Batman, I was like, I never want to see Ben Affleck as Batman, and now he's a decent, fucking awesome Batman. So, he's not my favorite, but he's an awesome Batman. He does a good
Debatable.
job. So, yeah, I'm not, it's not something that I'm a fan or want to see as a live-action Batman. What do you got?
He also got announced for being in like that Berserker series.
Yeah, I think they're saying two seasons are going to be doing.
Yeah, they're like supposed to be doing like a TV show and like a comic book or a movie and a comic book, all sorts of stuff.
Netflix, right?
I think so. Yeah,
I think it was Netflix,
and it's like all based off Keanu. Well, not based off of, but he's
a look of it, right?
Correct.
Okay.
So, something piggybacking off of Stranger Things. Metallica TikTok. Did you see this?
I think I may have.
Yeah, they all had Hellfire Club T-shirts on and were like playing Master of Puppets like alongside the scene next to it. So they support it. It's cool. Yeah.
Because didn't they say like our song featured in the new season?
Yeah.
But
that's the thing with like, I'm pretty sure with Metallica, you can look this up, but I'm pretty sure that most of their like music, they own like all their shit. They're one of the few bands that like they get to decide who plays what, and I'm pretty sure they're kind of liberal with their stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like they're one of the rare bands that I think have a lot of control over their hits and like actually let people kind of fuck with it and like use it and stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm sure they got paid for it to show up in Stranger Things. But like it's very rare for the brand and not, or for the band and not like the brand or the music company to own all their rights, and Metallica was like one of those that always. That's why you see them in tons of sporting events, because they can play their songs in all their like stadiums and shit, because it's like if they're behind the cause, they're like, yeah, fuck it, you can use the song. You know, it's not like going through all the other hoops to get a licensed song.
And they've owned it since 2012, all of their rights.
Yeah. So yeah, see.
Nice. That's super nice of them.
Every 10 years, Metallica.
Yeah, exactly. So it was just kind of a cool thing to see a bunch of old dudes like just being like, hey, our song's in a really popular TV show. Like, this is cool. And they all had the Stranger Things TV shirt on. Yeah, so it was
nice.
It's cool.
I do remember that. I do remember seeing that. I have a movie news coming up for what's it called? The franchise of Insidious. I'm not sure how you feel about that franchise.
I like Insidious.
I like
some of them.
I think I like
the first
3.
one was dope.
Yeah, I like the first one. I really like the second one. The third one was probably it's probably one of the scarier ones. And then the fourth one, I was like, what the fuck is going on? But Insidious 5 is going into production, and it is going to be directed by Patrick Wilson.
I love Patrick Wilson. So.
Yes, I'm excited to see him direct.
Yeah, I'm down.
Patrick Wilson said that this is a direct sequel to 1 and 2. This takes place 10 years later, and they're following Dalton, the main kid from the first movie, as he goes off to college. So I'm excited to see that.
Like fucking a girl in a dorm room and get possessed by a demon, dude.
And then he's better at sex.
Yeah.
But no, this is scheduled to be released July 7, 2023. So
right.
In about 1 year from
Yeah,
now.
let's say a year.
A little less than a year. And I'm excited for that because I really like the Insidious franchise.
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah.
Not only did we get the Halloween's Ends trailer,
Yep.
which we kind of thought was coming from the tweet, which looks about as any Halloween movie as far as the trailer goes. We're 20 movies in at this point, you know? It is what I pretty much expected the trailer to look about. But what I wanted to comment on was a reporter asked her if she'd be interested in getting in the Marvel Universe, the MCU.
Oh, okay.
And she said, I'm afraid if I do a Marvel movie, they're going to stick dots on my face and make me act alone in a warehouse. Which I thought was hilarious.
Yeah.
Coming from like an old school actor where you see these guys that are like, I'm not about that life. Like, it's not acting, so to say, But then she followed up with saying, like, absolutely, I'd do it. But, like, I really, if I'm going to do it, I don't want to be, the whole quote-unquote, Gandalf treatment in The Hobbits where you hear about him crying because he was acting with actors with their faces on plates. You know? And he's like, this isn't acting, So it's interesting. It's I always like to see older actors clap back at, like, new age filmmaking. That's like, yeah, I get all the cool shit you guys do with CGI and all that, but, like, it's really about putting people in a room and seeing what happens. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Feeding off each
Yeah,
other.
it's so important. So it's just interesting, but it's a nice little segue into some Marvel shit and all that with everything that kind of went on with Comic-Con and all that.
Before we get into Comic-Con, because we do have some Comic-Con news for everybody, we had talked about the Monsters trailer in the last episode, and I want to let everybody know that the Monsters is actually going to be heading to Netflix. It's still a September release. There's no official date, but the Monsters is going to be going straight to Netflix. Mm-hmm. And then, as well, with the streaming information, Lightyear is going to be coming out on Disney Plus August 3rd. So in 2 days from now, you're all going to be able to watch Lightyear. And Sam and I saw it. We recommend it. And I know you said that you would see it once it was on
definitely
streaming.
Watch
so
it.
yeah, it's nothing complex. It's just a fun movie to watch. And then as well as on Disney Plus is Deadpool and Logan. You can watch
on
now.
there.
These are the first rated R films on Disney Plus. So
yeah.
Check them out if you haven't seen them already.
Yeah, if you haven't seen Logan, what are you doing with your life?
Yeah. Now we can get into some Comic-Con.
Yeah.
So, I have three main pieces.
You kick it off with something, and then I'll pick whatever,
Gotcha.
depending on where you go.
Okay, so, Comic-Con. I know we're both into TMNT. I had no idea about this Cowabunga collection.
Oh, yeah, bro.
Out.
This came out. This was announced like a year ago, but they haven't shown really anything or anything about it. Like, it's just... Because what happened was the new TMNT, Shredder's Revenge, came out and just kind of like dwarfed it, and people kind of forgot about it because it was the new one. But this is dope, dude. This
13 fucking games.
It's like every turtle game that's been around for the past 20 years is all in one game. It's gonna be dope, dude.
13
we're talking
games,
Turtles in Time. We're
anything
talking
that was on
arcade,
NES, NESS or SNES, Super Nintendo, yeah, and then fucking Sega, everything after that. It's all
awesome.
rolled into one, which is awesome. It makes me want to get a system that will play, because I think this is going to be available on all systems as well. Switch.
Yeah, I didn't imagine it's probably even going to be a Switch game, to be honest.
So that's awesome. I'm excited for gamers.
It's at the end of the year too. I think it's this year it comes out. I'm pretty sure it's the end of the year.
Yes, I'm excited for that.
Yep. I'll kick us off with some DC stuff from Comic-Con, and I know it's on the list, but I'm gonna take it. Riddler Year One. The thing we talked about, the comic book that Paul Dano basically wrote, 6 issues, it looks like. October 25th is when it's first going to drop. and he was on the panel kind of talking about it and all that. So
I didn't even know
and
it was supposed to be, this was going to be a thing that DC talked about.
Me either. And then I also saw they came out, Matt Reeves like released a thing with Paul Dano came in, or Paul Dano maybe have talked about it. One or the other was saying, but Paul Dano basically came to set and was just like, yeah, I kind of got this. They were talking about the character and backstory. He's like, oh, I kind of got this backstory, and told him. And Matt Reeves was like, damn, dude, that should be a comic book. and Paul Dano was like, I know, I was kind of thinking that, but, I'm not a comic book writer and all that. He's like, but I like it. And then he said the next day he went back to set to shoot. And before they started filming, Matt Reeves was like, oh, yeah, dude, I talked to DC. They want to call you. They want to talk to you about this. So, like, Matt Reeves was the one that put it all in motion, was like, yo, Paul's got a great idea for a comic book.
Yeah.
So you should hit him up. And yeah, so that's how that all kind of came about.
That's going to be awesome.
Yeah, so I'm very excited for that.
I'm definitely going to get picking those issues up when they come out, because I'm sure they're going to have sick fucking variants.
Yeah,
so.
Everyone's going to.
DC did have some movie news. They did show a new Shazam trailer, which
it looks bad.
It looks about as bad as the first one, or good as the first one.
The first movie was okay. It wasn't terrible. It kind of surprised me. I thought it was going to be a lot worse than it was as far as Shazam. It was a fun kind of movie, but this trailer just looks like really bad.
It's the villains, I think. Like I feel like the moment I saw Helen Mirren as a villain, I was like,
Yeah, it just seems like they're already in the bottom of the well for villains, and it's like we got one Shazam villain. Which, kicker, Black Adam should be the big Shazam
he
villain.
really should.
But no, let's make a fucking solo movie of him and turn him into an anti-hero first. It's like, this is why DC is just like running in circles. It's like, the blueprint is all there, but what the fuck is going on?
Although Shazam is, oh no, Shazam's not coming out first, right? Black Adam's coming out first.
That's
what
I was
going to say. It would have been fine if Shazam was first and it ended with Shazam and the crew kicking their ass, and then they introduced Black Adam, and then now you're getting your Black Adam movie, and maybe the end of Black Adam has a little bit of Shazam. I don't know. I'm not this isn't my job.
I wish it was.
But they did have another Black Adam trailer as well, and Dwayne Johnson was actually there, and he said something not very cryptic, but he said that the future of DC will never be the same again, which I'm like, okay. Maybe,
it's in the garbage can, bro.
But maybe he's gonna take it out. I don't know. I try to have some faith in.
Bro, his big move was, I'm gonna hold my hand across the crowd, and everybody's lanyard's gonna light up all of a sudden, and it's gonna be this big cool thing.
Did that happen?
Yeah.
Holy shit! I didn't know that. I didn't see that one.
It was kind of anticlimactic. It wasn't as cool as I think they intended it to be. At least to me, I was like, okay, like I don't know.
They'd put magnets.
I don't know,
a giant
bro.
fucking magnet behind stage
I don't
and turn
know.
it on.
Yeah, just rip everyone's head.
Fuck, that would be crazy.
I don't know. It was just I'm not very excited for that in the Shazam.
Neither am I. I'm gonna watch them, but I'm not excited for them.
I don't think we'll pay to go see them.
No, absolutely. There's no chance.
That's gonna be a movie.
There's
movie spoiler website thing.
There's no chance that I go see Shazam or probably Black Adam in theaters.
And then the last piece of DC items that I have is that Jim Lee was there, the comic book artist Jim Lee, and he had said that he's been working on a lot of pieces with the DC production and Warner Brothers, and said that they have no intent of moving forward with any kind of Snyderverse anything.
Good.
Snyderverse is dead.
Good. It should be, man. Just end it. They tried it. It didn't work. And it's ending like in a slow train wreck for every single franchise. Like every franchise right now has an issue that they're fighting, and it's like you gotta take old Yeller out back sometimes, dude. Like you know what I mean? Like when it's time to pull the plug, you gotta pull the plug, and like just Batman's doing well. Work on your TV shows. Work on what's working. Don't be pushing stupid shit, which they're already doing. But just reset.
Like,
there's nothing wrong with a good reset because they need it. It's more evident than
There's
ever.
nothing wrong with realizing you need a reset.
Correct.
Like, I don't know why DC thinks that they have to keep giving us shit. It's like, no, we don't want...
No, I'd much rather have...
We want our quality over quantity.
I'd much rather have, like, the next 3 years of no DC shit coming out if in the 4 years from now something good comes out of DC and they start rolling it. You know what I mean? Like Batman will be 2 years from now. So like we can get by on Batman, we can get by on Joker 2. You know, there's enough DC properties to get us by that we know are pretty good to get us into the next like MCU type comparison thing where we're going to kind of string shit off and start building a 30 movie fucking franchise or whatever you want to say. So I don't know. I hope that they take just like a serious step back and kind of look at stuff. So
That's all I have for DC.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you had anything else. We can move on.
No,
to
Marvel. I just have a couple things on Marvel.
I got a bunch for Marvel.
All right. Well,
a lot of them is going to be. We're going to touch upon.
Correct. So I'll just start with Wakanda Forever trailer.
Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It looks really look-wise, it looks fantastic.
Look-wise,
spectacle-wise,
yes,
you know what I mean? Like backgrounds and everything. I was like, holy shit, this looks really good.
Angela Bassett's voiceover.
Yeah, no,
was fantastic.
It looks really good. I still don't know how well this movie's gonna do for me. I don't know, but I'm gonna see it.
I mean, to be honest, I'm definitely gonna see it. We're gonna see it in fucking November when it comes out in November. We'll probably be covering it for November.
Yeah.
I wasn't a big fan of the first one. The first one
I really liked the first one.
The first one was okay to me. It wasn't anything crazy. I liked it, but I'm excited for this one. Kevin Feige did say that this is going to be the wrap-up of Phase 4
I
of
saw that.
Marvel. So it's going to be the last two things that are coming out for Phase 4 is She-Hulk and Black Panther Wakanda Forever.
She-Hulk looks bad.
The CGI looks bad.
It does.
The story itself looks interesting. I like that they got the Hulk in there.
It's the thing of like, should I watch 9 episodes of Hours if it's gonna still look like shit? You know what I mean? Like, I don't think I'm going to. Like, it's just like we can't keep giving them these outs. You know what I mean? It's like. The buck stops with us. Like, if we all watch it and pay to see it and all this shit, like, this shit's just gonna keep happening.
They're gonna make it regardless, man. This franchise is way too deep.
And that's where I'm at my point of, like, where it's just gonna be starting to pick and choose shit because there's just too much and the quality's just slipping for me. If it was all amazing A+ type shit, you had to see it, that's something. But if you're gonna start making, like, CW type shit respectively, like CW does the best they can, but you know CW versus Marvel DC, it's not even you know what I mean. It's just like, no, like I have other shit I can watch with my time. Like I'm not gonna waste
Should I just
my
let you know what episode Daredevil's in so you can take off?
Probably, to be honest. How
do you feel about that scene? Did you watch the?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I watched it. Spoiler.
I think that it's cool that they gave him that red and yellow suit, but practical wise, I'm like, I understand they're making fans happy by giving him that suit.
It's one of those two that this. I agree. I think Daredevil has always played better in the maroon. Mm-hmm. He's just always been like the Crimson Demon type thing.
Yeah.
Hardcore like nerds want to nerd out because we've never gotten that, but like that suit's such an OG like beginner issue suit. Like, I don't like it. I also think people are blowing it out of proportion. All the like legit pictures I've seen of it, they've upped contrast and shit. I've watched the trailer 1,000 times, and you can't really see the true yellow and red like you're seeing when people are posting the screen grabs of it, which means they're upping contrast or they're fucking with it to kind of be like, oh, did you see this view of it? So until I see him standing there in the like yellow and red suit, then I'll make my decision. But like, off the bat, I'm a big Daredevil guy, and I've never been about the yellow suit.
Okay.
It's not cool, unless you're playing him in a video game where you're like, oh, I want to throw on the old... Like, that's something completely different. But, like, in a movie, practical, and, like, how the Daredevil series is, that suit is not going to play at all, at least to me. Like, so, we'll see what happens.
I agree. Like I said, the She-Hulk trailer does look... It looks better, but the CGI is still the issue.
It's bad. It's still pretty and it's her. That's the problem. It's like
really
your main character looks.
Everything else looks.
And
fine.
the Hulk looks like they tried to do what they did with the Hulk with her, but it just something's not getting lost in translation, and it just looks really shitty. Like I said, if you've seen Click, it looks like when Adam Sandler fucking dials up the contrast and turns himself green. He's like, I'm the Hulk. That's what it looks like.
Yes, it does. So they did confirm that we are going to be getting a Daredevil Reborn show.
18 episodes.
18
I think it'll end up being 2 seasons. I don't think it's just going to be 1 season of 18 episodes.
Oh, how do you feel about that? You hate when shows split.
Not if it's like an actual organic split. Like he never came. He just came out and said there's going to be 18 episodes of Daredevil. You know what I mean? So,
but if they hold off 3 episodes for the
then I'm going to be pissed. It's bullshit. You go watch the Stranger Things episode. Yeah. I'm not going to change my opinion on that.
I know.
I don't like the title being Daredevil Reborn.
Daredevil Born Again.
Born again. Okay. So it's just one of those things. It makes me extremely, extremely nervous because I can't stress enough how much they knocked the character of Daredevil out of the park with what they had on Netflix already. Yeah. So it's like if they come in to like retell that, that's gonna kind of piss me off. Even though like I get they have new viewers and all that, But like, you got to figure this shit out one way or another. Especially since you own the TV show now and it's on your platform and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, you can watch that shit. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I'm gonna watch it 1,000,000% because I'm a Daredevil dude. But it makes me very, very, very nervous. Especially just with what the title is, what it is. Like,
see, I think that's set to come out. Well, that'll be Phase 5. And I believe it's next November.
Yeah, they start filming, I think, in December of this month. Or, I mean, of this year.
Can you pull up the phase, Sam? Can you pull up the full Phase 5? What is it, schedule?
So, yeah.
Another thing that said we are going to be getting is that X-Men 97 show.
Yeah, that'll be dope.
We're going to be getting the Marvel Zombies show, as well as a second season of What If, which I'm excited for. None of those things am I saying I'm going to fucking watch them.
No, I think that's all shit to, like, put on your list of, like, I'm looking for something to watch tonight. We'll check that out. Yeah. And I think that's fine filler. Mm-hmm. It's not like... Which, that's the type of shit I don't mind coming out. It's the stuff they make you feel like you need to watch this or you're going to miss out on everything. Yeah. That's the shit that makes me mad. It's like this stuff that's kind of like, you want to watch some Marvel Zombies? Throw on some Marvel Zombies. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, that's What If, throw on some What If. Like, and it's good stuff to throw on for maybe, like, kids. Like, I know I'll show them Marvel Zombies or probably not X-Men 97 because they're just not into... Well, especially because, that's old. But I'd show them What If. I mean, What If has its moments of adult content as well as some goriness, but I'm cool. I think the girls would like What If. What do you think, Sam? Do you think they like What If?
I think they would. That they would.
Okay.
It's not invincible, so we're good.
Yeah.
There's no exact date for Daredevil Born Again. It just says spring 2024.
Spring, okay. Yeah. Wow, fucking 2024.
Well, they haven't even started filming yet. That's the thing. So it's going to take them a year to film that shit. Especially 18 episodes.
I suppose so.
It's a lot, man.
Okay, well, we'll keep everybody posted on that. They did have some information about Blade coming out. Blade's going to be November 3rd. They have a new...
2023.
Yes, they do have a new... Captain America movie that's going to be coming out. People got a first look at Ant-Man and Guardians of the Galaxy 3. And then Kevin Feige wrapped it all up by saying that Phase 6 is going to be starting with Fantastic Four. There's no cast or anything. And that Phase 6 is going to be ending with 2 movies. It's going to be Avengers The King Dynasty and Avengers Secret Wars, which I don't know anything about Secret Wars, but I know that a lot of comic book fans go crazy for Secret Wars. Yeah. So I'm assuming that we're going to be getting something special there. There's no directors. He said that...
I'm looking at the cover of Secret Wars, and I see Miles Morales front and center, so that would be awesome.
Okay. I expect him to be coming in pretty soon to this universe anyway, so that'd be really dope. And then this whole saga, because the last saga was called the Infinity Saga, this is going to be called the Multiverse Saga. So I guess we can be done with some multiverse shit by 2025.
2 years.
After November 7th,
and they're packed with stuff. But yeah, he didn't reveal too much for Phase 6 because he said that there's plenty of other things. He said that Marvel's going to be coming back again. There's going to be no more 3-year wait of coming back to Comic-Con, so that's fun stuff. There's a lot of thing, and there's, like, I know a lot of people are hyped about Secret Wars and all that. I will say there's not many things that I saw that I'm, like, super, super, super hyped about. Fantastic Four is probably my thing that I'm like, wow, I can't fucking wait for Fantastic Four.
There's not any announcements that, like, when they showed the picture of the timeline and all the things, like Loki Season 2, very excited for that, just because I like Loki a lot. But other than that, I'm kind of like, all right, well, we'll see where the news takes us and what these trailers and everything looks like to get me going.
I think the Agatha Harkness show will be fun. I'm not like, oh my god, I gotta see
Correct.
it.
Correct. That's what I mean. It's like enjoyable. Some of those things. It is mind blowing. It's a meme online right now. But the fact we're getting all of, like, an Agatha show and 2 Avengers movies in the same years, and we never got, like, a second Superman movie, it just shows you what DC's doing. It's insane to break it down on that level. Really, like, what the fuck is going on, dude?
Best.
So yeah, it's weird.
I'm not sure if I missed any Marvel.
No, I think that's pretty much everything. Okay. I mean, and a lot of the shit, again, they came out and said that they're not releasing a lot of information until the Disney convention. Yeah, D23, and then fucking Phase 6 is in 2024. Yeah, so it's a lot of shit and a lot of...
I'm surprised he released that much. Just by showing us Black Panther and Guardians, not trailers, but first looks, I was like, okay, wow, that's quite a bit. I wish they would have given us a trailer for like the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. I'm really looking forward to that, and I know my girl's looking forward to that, so I was expecting that, but we didn't get that.
Well, September 9th, we'll probably get more stuff. That's the whole weekend of D23.
D23?
Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
So
Yeah.
September.
My last piece that I have is what transitions into Nope.
I got a Nope fact too.
Yeah.
For my last one.
Hey.
Way to go.
First cut of Nope was 3 hours and 45 minutes.
Whoo! What was this? 2 hours and 10 minutes, right?
Yeah.
2 hours and 10
And
minutes.
I this is one that I'm like, I want to see that cut.
Yeah.
Like, this is one that, like, and I'm not usually about that, but this is one I'm like,
Yeah, since
I
I
would
want the
love
peel
to
cut.
see this cut, dude.
I want the peel cut.
You know? Like, I would love to see the long version of this movie, dude.
I just told you before we started recording that I watched the trailer. I rewatched the trailer, and there was a few scenes that I was like, where the fuck was that? Who there was a specific character, and I was like, that person never came into the movie. So I'm interested to see. I would love it if he released a fucking cut.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to know what his original cuts were for his other movies, well, though. The piece that I have is, I'm sure you've seen this because he kind of took to Twitter on this, was when a fan said, I know this is a hot take, but at what point do we declare Jordan Peele to be the best horror director of all time? Can you think of another horror director that has made 3 great films, let alone 3 in a row? I can't. And Jordan Peele shot back at him like, sir, please put the phone down, I beg you. Sorry, I love your enthusiasm, but I will just not tolerate any John Carpenter slander.
Yeah.
And I'm not a big John Carpenter fan.
Yeah, but he's a pioneer for the generation.
He really is.
It's the difference of like liking the 1980 version or 70s version of Halloween, which isn't the greatest thing, but like when it came out in the 70s,
absolutely,
it's, holy shit, what the fuck is this guy doing? And John Carpenter's also fucking badass. If you watch his, like, he's doing Halloween as an indie director with no like credits to his name, talking how like Spielberg makes shit movies. Like he's like one of those dudes that just like had his vision and is like, nah, I think that's like pretentious as fuck. Like that guy doesn't get cinema. And it's like, who the fuck is this guy? And he just went on to make like every popular horror movie for the next like 15 years. You know what I mean?
People,
so
for
like,
people who don't know, because I didn't even know
it's
he
crazy.
made so many.
Oh, dude, he's
so
not even like he produces a lot too. Like
he does.
It's crazy.
So he directed The Fog. He directed Escape from New York, The Thing, Halloween, and They Live are his like top ones. I was like, oh wow,
and that's not
no
including
shit.
like sequels and shit too. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like you just that just rolls over and rolls over. Like he's like a Wes Anderson in a way. Like
yes,
he's that guy. Like
the pioneer for that fucking time. Yeah,
he's awesome.
Absolutely. But I thought that was a cool piece. I like that Jordan Peele was like, nah.
No, he wasn't getting baited into that, dude.
And good for him. Good for him for not letting his fucking head get too big. He understands. Like, just give us art, man. That's the last thing I had for Nerd News. From that, we're moving on to Nope. It came out last weekend. It's directed by Jordan Peele. Jordan Peele made the movie Get Out. He made Us. He wrote Keanu. And then we all know him from the show Key and Peele. Nope right now has an 80...
Also produced Candyman. New Candyman.
He did, yes. Nope right now has an 83% on the tomato meter, has a 71% on the audience meter. And I'm not sure how I feel about this.
I'll tell you how I feel about it. The fact that I think Thor was like a 69 on the audience meter, 69. I want to say. It was like somewhere around there.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Like that's why I don't go by like Rotten Tomatoes stores anymore, because it's like when you kind of, I guess, not understand film, but really are into film as much as like we are and things like that, like it's not in the same fucking league, dude. As far as like when we're talking films and movies and stuff, like what Thor and all that did was great and all that, but dude, like the easiest
way to put it is kind of like how you just said, like comparing film. Nope is a film.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's
Thor: Love and Thunder movie.
Yeah, yes.
There's a difference between a film and a movie, and that was a clear difference.
Correct. So I mean, not to say like maybe that isn't low, but it's like the gauge of shit movies that get that high kind of review. That's what's bullshit. They should be lower in the 40s, the 50s, and this 70 should mean a lot more. Because again, like, is it the greatest movie of all time? No. But it's a fucking great movie in my opinion. So like,
that was my next question: is do you fuck with this?
Oh, dude, so much. It was one of those that like I was very, very hyped for, and I had been from the beginning. And very rarely in today do I walk into movies you're really hyped for and not get let down in some capacity. And this one, like, I literally walked out and was like, that's exactly what I would. Like, it's such a good feeling when a movie completes, like, what you're looking for or what you weren't expecting, but it's, like, a good fucking movie.
Yeah.
You can't replicate that feeling. And I feel like in today's age of movies, somewhere or another, you walk out and go, oh, that was fun, that was good, or whatever, but you don't get that feeling of, like, holy shit, that was good. Like, you know, and that's how Nope was for me.
Yeah.
I walked out and was like, not a day that's gone by since I've watched it that I haven't thought about something about Nope. Like,
See, Sam and I walked out, and I told her, you know, I wonder how it would feel after a second viewing, because I know that even with Get Out and Us, I loved them the first sit down and watching them, but I know I didn't fully appreciate it until the
you watch
second
the second
watch.
one. This is definitely
So
one
like,
I want to
I'm
watch
like,
back
oh,
for the little
man.
details.
I was like, I definitely want to go back. You said the little details of these movies, because that's all it is watching any of his movies, is those little details.
Yep.
So yeah, I definitely want to see it again. We both definitely enjoyed this movie.
Yeah, I highly recommend. It's up there for one of my favorite movies of the year.
How do
for
you
sure.
feel about the IMAX use? I feel like I wanted to have an IMAX or no IMAX discussion. Let people know.
I saw it on IMAX.
We saw it IMAX as well, and I feel like I didn't really get much out of it. I think the sound design is really good, so the sound was important for the IMAX. But as far as the visuals, I was like,
I don't know. You are dealing with a lot of skyscapes, and then like just like the open.
I mean, that's the thing is like, I guess in a way you're not wrong, but in a way when you get, let's say, the 5-10 minutes where that IMAX comes in handy for some certain shots, like that puts the spectacle and the fucking scope of things where it's like, oh shit, like, you know. Again, we've seen, so from the trailer, so not spoiler of anything, but like, you know, when he's on the horse and like the thing's like over him, like seeing that on IMAX is like, holy shit, that's a big fucking UFO. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. So like, I don't know. It's one of those two. We're spoiled because I feel like where we go see movies, well, usually a lot of the screens that they even are IMAX or not IMAX are bigger than some of the IMAX theaters, like at some of the other theaters around here. So it's one of those things that, like, I feel like I'm getting kind of desensitized to IMAX because screens are getting naturally bigger. Unless you go to, like, an older theater that has old movie theaters.
Gigantic.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Old stuff. Or they have, like, that extra ultra IMAX where it's the whole goddamn wall kind of thing. So, yeah, it's not one I don't think you need to see, but like you said, the sound was awesome.
It was.
The
It was
sound
incredible.
is really cool.
Yeah, so if you guys are thinking about going to see this movie, you guys don't need the IMAX. If cinematography is something that you're paying attention to,
then definitely go.
Absolutely go see this movie because it was worth the IMAX, the extra for the IMAX ticket. However, it's not necessarily needed.
No.
Speaking of cinematography, I wanted to bring up the cinematographer because I didn't know who did it. His name is Hoyte van Hoytema, and he did the cinematography for The Fighter, Her, Interstellar, Dunkirk, Tenet, and the new movie
he's
Oppenheimer.
just that guy. He's that guy in Hollywood
Which
right
means
now.
that he knows his fucking... He's working with Chris Nolan a lot. Chris Nolan likes to use the IMAX cameras, which means that this guy knows how to use an IMAX camera. But it didn't seem comparable as far as cinematography compared to, like, Interstellar.
Well, that's also director and the story and all that. Because the director's the one that gives you that fucking storyboard almost and is like, yo, this is what I want it to look at like, and then the cinematographer takes it and then either adds to that or makes that come true. So, like, you know, and it's one of those things, like, Jordan Peele's awesome, but, like, Christopher Nolan, that's what he does, is make, like, these grand fucking things where, like, especially for this movie, like, this was a cheap movie to make. And, like, this is something definitely they shot, like, probably during COVID, like minimal thing. It
Cinematographer for Get Out and Us, was it the same guy? Please.
But, so it's one of those things, it's they're different scales of movies in a way, too, I feel like, you know what I mean? But again, the cinematography is awesome. It's, you know, it's
good.
Cool.
That was my problem.
Toby Oliver.
So it's not the same. It's not the same guy.
Let me look at Us.
Okay.
Get Out. It is not.
Okay, so it's a different guy for each one. So Jordan Peele hasn't found his guy yet.
Nope.
Like Wally Pfister was.
Different guy for all three of them.
Was Chris Nolan.
Well, he found his guy and his actor though.
He did.
So
he did. I remember him saying that. I think you might have told me that Daniel Kaluuya was his De Niro.
Yep.
Yeah. and we'll get to him when we get to him, because I have some things to say about Daniel Kaluuya. I want to hit on the music. So Michael Abels does the soundtrack.
Does all of the movies for him.
He did Get Out and he did Us.
Yeah.
I wasn't too impressed with the soundtrack.
I think the soundtrack works good in the movie. I think it's one of those things, like, I think people want it to have like some kind of crazy theme and all that, and it doesn't have that. But the music in the scenes are good.
They did.
I think they move the scene. They do what it needs the scene. It doesn't. This movie doesn't have a music cue like a lot of horror movies do. This movie has a visual cue, which we'll get to in the spoilers of what happens when you know this thing is coming or whatever. Yeah. A lot of movies like Jaws, you get the dun dun. You know, you don't get that in here, but you get a different cue, which I like. So.
Okay. No, I liked the use of. I don't know if I'd call it silence in this movie, but it was definitely
the sound design,
quieter. Yes.
And like the little Western music tied in, awesome. Yes. It was awesome.
Yeah,
because it was like a Western in a way.
It was absolutely.
Cool. So,
I mean, we're gonna be discussing this movie fairly soon, but I felt there was a few tie-ins to like Signs. There was a few things from the Signs soundtrack that James Newton Howard does. And I was like, oh, there's a little thing. I was like, I like that, because it reminds me, because this is, as well as Signs, are both very intimate, one family that you're sticking with the entire time. So I like that a lot. So, but I want to hit the music real fast. I do have my spoiler-free review, and this is spoiler-free. Spoiler-free.
We'll start screaming.
All right, so here it is. While Nope isn't necessarily a scary movie, it has some very high tension and creepy moments that had me squeamish in my seat. The acting all around was phenomenal. The sets were great. The effects, for the most part, were practical. And although the inspirations of M. Night Shyamalan and Steven Spielberg are very noticeable, Jordan Peele once again delivers a well-directed, stylized, and original horror drama that is a must-see.
Completely original. Like that, like it's, yeah. That's good. That was a good review. That's a good spoiler-free review. But I do want to press that home, that this is an original type movie.
Yeah.
Like you're not going to go in. You haven't seen a movie like this, and I can say that with confidence because it just doesn't exist.
Nope.
So it's awesome,
Absolutely.
and to be able to say that in a time where they remake movies or steal things from movies, everything. This is like, it is a breath of fresh air to be like, holy shit, this is something completely new.
Yeah, and it's good because, I mean, that guy, like I had said in Nerd News, you know, he said, who could do this 3 times in a row? And Jordan Peele really is. The 3 films that he's directed, all original.
Yeah.
You haven't seen that shit anywhere else.
Yeah, no, he's very
fucking awesome.
That's what I'm saying. I'm sure it's repetition of practicing and writing for years and working on Key and Peele, where you're writing sketches and they're probably writing 20 sketches a week. You know, we only see 4 of them, but they're writing, you don't know how many. But like, you have to have a gift to be able to write how he does with original spins, and especially when we get into the spoiler stuff of like, I've seen like what his original inspiration of this movie was. And it's insane for him to go to pick one word of being like, this is what I'm focusing on, and get this story. It's like
I'm interested to hear that.
Your brain has to work. It's not just practicing. It is practicing, but your brain, he is gifted when it comes to creating an original story. And there's no other way around it.
That's all we got for the spoiler-free section, guys. At this point, if you have not seen the movie, turn it off. Pause it. Come back to it once you've seen the movie, or if you have no intent to see the movie but you want to know what happens, keep listening, because we're gonna go scene by scene. We're gonna let you guys know everything that happens.
And I want to throw this out there too, because there's a lot of people who are like, I don't fuck with scary movies. This isn't a scary movie in a way of like
suspense drama.
It's very suspenseful. It'll have you on the edge of your seat the whole time and all that. But like, if you're scared of scary movies and jump scares and shit like that, like, this isn't that movie.
No,
there's elements of it like any horror movie, but this isn't like meant to be like, oh, we're gonna see how many times we can make you jump in your seat.
It's not Insidious.
No, it's
no.
It's not a fucking slasher movie. It's like a mind roller coaster.
Yeah, in no way, shape, or form is this comparable to this movie, but this is literally the first movie that just came to my mind. Final Destination. they're not necessarily horror films,
Yeah.
but they make you giddy in your seat and squeamish.
No, that's like gore porn in a way because of the crazy. But like, and Nope's not like that at all.
It's like that where it's
correct.
not you're not getting jump scares, but you're getting suspense of it.
Yeah.
It's a ride in your seat.
I just want to throw that out there because I know there are people who are like, oh, I don't fuck with scary movies at all, and it's a different breed of scary movie. You're not like scared of like I'm gonna have nightmares over this. It's like it's just like an anxiety ride.
No,
it's cool.
It's pure suspense.
Yeah.
It is not gory. It is not graphic. It's nothing like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna get into this spoiler-free section now, guys. You've been warned. We're gonna break it down right now. This movie opens up with a Bible verse. It says, "And I will cast abominable filth upon thee, and make thee vile, and will set thee as a spectacle." Nahum 3:6.
Boom, right there. That's the thing that Jordan Peele focused the entire movie on.
Really?
The word spectacle.
Wow.
Spectacle. And what he thought of, the first example that came to his head was the idea of a bottleneck on a highway when you get a crash. So when there's a crash, all of a sudden you come to a bottleneck because everyone slows the fuck down to take a look at the horrible thing that happened.
Okay.
So it's the idea of spectacle and how prevalent spectacles are in our lives and how most spectacles are actually like negative and shit, but we can't help but to seek them out and can't be drawn away from it.
It's a train wreck. You can't look away.
So it's one of those things like we can talk we'll hit more on that at the end to circle back about everything, but like think about that as you're discussing this movie or watching this movie because that's it. Literally his whole thing was like I'm just gonna make a movie about spectacle.
Okay.
And that's where this came from, which is just like Jesus Christ, dude. So yeah, and that's a great quote to open with because that's what's like literally in your face, like, hey, this is what this movie's about.
And that's one of the coolest and worst part about this, going into a Jordan Peele movie at this point was like, you're trying to pick it apart and find out what the fuck
you
want to
know, like, you're also going like, oh, there's going to be some kind of crazy twist. Or there's going to be something and all that. And that's what's great about this movie is because he was like, yeah, I know what you're expecting, but I know what I'm doing too. So
yes,
buckle in. You're not going to know. And it's just beautiful because it's just so different from his other two movies.
It is.
That like you're expecting it to be like that, and it's not, and that's what benefits this movie a ton.
But it's not disappointing. It's
not in the least
that's
bit.
The good part about
Yeah,
it.
no, exactly.
You're not going to get to the end of this movie and say there wasn't a fucking
twist.
M. Night
major
Shyamalan type twist.
Shyamalan twist,
No.
which he cornered himself in. Which is, we'll get to that part when we get to that part. But yes, there's not a gigantic twist.
No, there's still a good twist. There's still some good twists.
Either. His first two movies had twists, but they weren't like.
Get Out was pretty twist and turny the
say,
whole time.
Get Out was...
Like it was just like twist after twist. Like even think at the end, he's like strangling the girl and the fucking cop lights show up. It's like the twist just never fucking end. You know what I mean? Like this was not that, but it's just as satisfying.
Yeah. The second scene, it opens on like a 90s sitcom set, and it is just fucking tore up.
Yeah.
There is no
the on-air signs like flashing.
Yeah, it says
you hear
applause
balloons
to you,
popping.
There's blood everywhere.
Blood everywhere. You don't see anybody, but you see legs of like a person laying in front of like a couch.
Mm-hmm.
So like, and then there's blood. And as the camera's just slowly panning over, they reveal a fucking monkey. Just like drenched in fucking blood, wearing like human clothes. So you know he's some kind of and he's kind of just like walking around, and then he like takes a seat and is kind of just like looking around. Quite possibly one of the best opening scenes in the world, because what he's doing is he's now taking something you've seen. There was no hint of any of this in the trailer or anything.
No.
Right? No one knew any. Like so what he's doing is you're seeing this as the first scene. First you go like you have that moment of like, am I in the right movie? Then you have the moment of like he's disarming you because he's showing you something shocking and like scary and all that, but has nothing to do with anything that you assumed this movie's going to be about. So now you're totally just like, what the fuck is going on? Mm-hmm. And no answers are given to you.
No,
because you're in the end of, you're like in the middle of a moment and you can tell, but like that's just where they started you, and then he cuts it off and it's like, what in the fuck was that all about? But at the same time, it's like.
We're gonna get it. We get the answers.
This is why Jordan Peele is who he is, because it's like he already takes you and is like, yeah, you have all these preconceived notions of what this is gonna be, but now I'm going to start it on the thing that you have no idea what this is about. And you're like, what the, I thought this thing was about aliens or something, dude. Like, what the hell is going on?
Is the monkey
Yeah.
the alien?
And they just pan out to there's a shoe standing upright in the middle of the room. Like,
Which
really weird.
I don't understand.
I have a whole theory about it. We'll get to it at the end.
Wonderful. Good.
Okay?
Because
Yep. I'm very firm in what I think my theory is.
And for people who, I guess if you made it this far and you haven't turned it
No,
off,
it's
and you do wanna
spoilers.
know-
We're at the spoiler part.
Yes, but this particular shot where this shoe is balancing is the soundtrack album artwork. So if you have listened to this point and you were like, you know what, I just want to hear a few scenes, you can see this shot and how this looks.
Because it's very
in the album
specific.
artwork.
It's a very specific shot.
It is.
So.
And this is the album artwork. So if you want to go check that out, you can check that out.
Yeah, it's an absolutely awesome thing. It's scary. It confuses you, and it just kind of like sets the tone of being like, all right, like I don't know what the fuck that was about, but
Yeah.
okay,
We're gonna find out. I'm fucking strapping in my seat right
dude,
now.
it's awesome. It's like I said, it was one of the best like horror type opening scenes for me because
Yep.
it just like, without going too far or getting corny or anything, it just was like, it just set a beautiful tone and was confusing and just, I love it. I love all the
It was
gory
wonderful.
shit.
So we flash forward and we're on a ranch and there's horses and we see Otis Haywood. And
Daddy Keith David, dude.
Keith David. And I totally forgot that he was in the trailer. So I was
I forgot it was even him. I heard the voice. I was like, is that fucking Keith David, dude?
Yeah,
because he's got one of those voices. Yeah,
Goliath,
exactly.
dude.
Yep.
Fucking Dr. Facilier.
The creepy guy from fucking Requiem of a Dream.
Yeah. Dude, yeah. But he's the dad, and he's there with his son, Otis Jr., who we know as OJ. And he's played by Daniel Kaluuya.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel Kaluuya blows me away in this fucking movie.
Yep.
Like, he's great in Get Out, but I never understood it up until this movie, or really appreciated Daniel Kaluuya until this movie.
And I'll tell you what a lot of this is Jordan Peele, like, confirming, like, you're my guy, so, like, what we're gonna do, we're gonna figure it out, and you're gonna do it. That brings so much confidence to an actor, to know you have a guy. He turned down Black Panther 2 to do this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so they're in, like, whatever they're gonna do, he's gonna sign up and do. And what's also, I saw them talking about it, Daniel Kaluuya almost quit acting before he quit, like, hardcore, like, quit and then get out. So, like, Jordan Peele kind of, like, saved his hope of his career and all that, of, like, you know, actually making it out of it. And what he also did for this movie, he read the script, and obviously he's like, yeah, I'm down. Whatever Jordan sends him, he's going to do. And he told Jordan right away, he's like, I want to go super indie with this. Like, I want to do, like, not a lot of work. Like, I want to be more subtle with everything and play this character more internal and all this shit. And right away, Jordan was like, yeah, do that. Lean fully into it, do it. And then look what you get, man. Like, he's amazing. I compared him, he's like to me, he's like a Mad Max Fury Road, where you can have a character that says maybe 15 lines the whole movie, but can still carry the entire movie, and you know what he's feeling and what he's going through the whole movie. And that's what he was. He was just silent, like, rancher, but, like, he was amazing.
Well, he's got the pain, because so what we see in this scene is, you know, him and his dad, and they're getting things ready at the ranch, and they make a comment about the sister being late, and so OJ starts walking back towards the house to, I'm assuming, to go get his sister.
And the horse corral dies. That's the first thing.
That's
your first cue, because he has them on the horse corral.
That's right.
Exercising the horses, and then that stops. So the dad's like, "Oh, what the fuck, piece of shit equipment," kind of thing. And then all of a sudden, you just hear like what sounds like bullets, like hitting the ground, and you see dust flying up, like almost like hail, but like coming in at like crazy speeds. Like I said, it's like a bullet sound. And it's like hitting random things.
It's like keys and shit.
Well, that's the thing. You don't really know. You don't really know what it is right away, and like because it's just hitting the thing, and then then they flash over and you see
small objects. And
you see the key sticking out of the horse. There's a key in the horse, and
you actually don't see that till after the day.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. You don't see that. You don't see the key in the wood until way later.
Yeah.
So really, you don't see what's falling until the dad falls off the horse, and they put
Yeah.
him in the car, and that's when all the shit's going.
And then they give him the biohazard bag with the coin in it. That
Correct.
Killed him.
Yeah, so they reveal that what had fallen out of the sky was a nickel.
Yeah.
And I'm like, at this point, it's still in the beginning of the movie. And I'm like, what was the year on the coin? Like, what? I'm like going fucking crazy watching this movie, trying to figure out.
And the car ride's like cool because the dad, like the dad's fucked up, but
Yeah.
they're showing it's his other side of his face that's been hit, and like you can tell it's like a brain injury or something because he's like Daniel's like or OJ's trying to just like do like
Keep
memory
talking.
type
Talking
like
to him. He's talking to
he's
him.
like
Just
talking
keep
to him,
talking to me,
keep
Dad.
talking, doing things, and he just starts like fading out, and then all of a sudden you start seeing like blood squirting out, and you're like, what the fuck is happening?
Mm-hmm.
Like, but they're not showing a ton, so it's not really graphic. And then you see him like dead with like a slot in his eye, and you're like, what the hell hit him? And the X-ray's a fucking coin, and he gets that back. You're like, a nickel fell and killed this dude, and then
Yeah.
that's when you see that the horse has a key sticking in him.
Yeah.
When he
You're
gets
like,
back to the
yeah, when he goes back to the ranch, he sees the key. Oh,
Yeah, so you're watching, you're like,
You're
what
like,
the
why the
fuck was
fuck
a,
is-
how did a nickel kill him and a key fell out of the sky? I'm
Yeah.
like,
it's
and
very, very
I'm
weird.
like, oh, the nickel says in God we trust. It was fucking God. This is what this movie's about. Oh my God. I'm like, fuck, man.
No, at this point I had a feeling it was like, okay, this is like abduction shit falling because of like UFOs and stuff,
Uh-huh.
but I didn't, it's not like,
When we find
yeah,
out,
when we
you're
find out like what that
whoa,
really kind of
okay.
is. But yeah, like I just was like, oh, this is interesting, the idea of like something getting sucked up and like falling, like
Yeah.
not everything making it into the tractor beam, so to say, but if it's 500 feet in the air and then starts free falling.
It'd be like if you dropped a fucking penny
Correct.
off the
Correct.
fucking Sears Tower.
Correct, you know what I mean? It was a really cool way to like establish a death right off the bat and also be like the one that killed his dad. It's really weird. It's a conspiracy that no one's going to be able to explain, that kind of thing of like OJ's just got to kind of eat this and deal with this now.
Yeah. We flash forward 6 months later, and they're on a commercial set. There, as in OJ is there with a horse, and there's a big movie set, and there's tons of people around, and they're talking about we need to have a safety meeting, and
It's
OJ
really cool because this is what it's like to be on set.
I was gonna ask. I was like, is this shit accurate?
It is super, super accurate, especially when you're shooting in a studio space like
Okay.
that. So because you'll have people on couches in the back just chilling, you'll have the makeup people coming in, and all of that things kind of going on. Now it's a little overdone, like when she walks in and they're like, "Oh, we want to introduce," and they make like a giant big deal out of it.
A spectacle.
Yeah, exactly. But for the most part, like that's how it feels on a set shooting in a studio, like Greenstein Studio, like
Okay.
that. So it's very kind of cool because it's like, oh yeah, he literally probably just filmed like that day of work. It was like, all right, we're just gonna turn the camera on you guys. Like,
We do get introduced to a character whose name is Holst, and he is the director of photography on this.
the DP.
Yes, and he has a distracting voice throughout the whole movie. His voice
Love
is way
it.
too distracting
I
for
like
me.
him.
And
Oh,
it took
you
me a
don't
while
like that, dude?
No, I did not.
I
I like this guy. I liked him in The Crow as a bad guy.
Yeah.
I don't like him in this movie. I like his character. I don't like his voice. His voice is too much.
Cowboy as fuck, bro. That's you only get that voice by hard work of smoking cigarettes and working out in the fields, bro. That's not just a fake voice. You earned that voice.
Dude, he had that voice 30 years ago when he made The
what
Crow.
that's what I'm saying, dude. That's
But-
a lot of years of work, bro. I fucking love it.
Anyway,
He was such a DP too. Like he reminded me of so many DPs of just like, yeah, these are how these guys are. These guys are in their own fucking world. They want to they want to make their art. They're always on a different art level than you because
Okay.
they're seeing like moving art. You know what I mean? Like they have to be able to take your bullshit, take the actor's bullshit, and then be the ones to kind of capture it all. You know what I mean? So the DPs to me always feel like kind of like the true artists in a way of like getting that medium to capture. So they always have that chip on their shoulder. All DPs do. And they need it to be good and do this crazy shit. So he had that. Like this guy was like, oh, this guy's seen some shit and he's done some shit. Been in the business forever too, since he was an old guy. It's not like he's the young up and coming director
he's
kind of
probably-
guy.
He's probably 50, 60.
And he was super like pure cinema type feels. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? He wasn't like about this new age bullshit. Like he was very like into what he was trying to
Classics.
do. Yeah, correct. Yeah.
And I do like his character. I do like everything about him. It was just his voice. His voice itself was too distracting for me.
Okay.
So we see that his sister's late again, and they want to run this safety meeting, and the safety meeting is basically for their company to say what they do is they just train horses for commercials.
Yeah, they do horses in movies.
How
They're
many horses?
they're animal wranglers, is what you call them. And basically, I mean, you have safety meetings almost every day on set, no matter what. Whether there's animals, whether there's
Even in
stunts.
construction, we have a safety meeting.
Correct.
Every morning.
Like that's on sets most of the time. If there's any kind of anything, usually they start off with a safety meeting. Even if it's not a safety meeting, it's like a pep talk that you realize they're like, oh, they're pretty much just telling us to be safe. So all that's like super cool. And I thought the fact that like OJ got put on the spot to do the safety meeting and was like, this is not my territory.
Yeah.
Like
I
I'm
am
waiting for my
not the
sister.
vocal one.
Yeah, he gets
Really cool.
He gets like 2 lines in, and this is another one of those reasons that I had never really appreciated Daniel Kaluuya's acting. But I'm like, man, there's pain behind this guy. Like, this is 6 months later, and he's still trying to run his dad's business, and he can't really do it. His dad was the voice. His dad also between Daniel Kaluuya's character OJ and his sister Emerald, they have 2 parts of the dad. The showmanship, which is the sister, and just the talent of being able to train these animals, which was OJ's character. So they needed each other, and it was a wonderful thing that they had between them two. And like we said, so Emerald, his sister, who we know as M, shows up and she's late, but she fucking kills this meeting, and she gets everybody on board and tells them about this.
It's the first black jockey in film. That
It was a 2-second clip.
He's a stuntman, actor, and animal wrangler. The first like triple threat, and it was a black jockey that's related to them. It's their
Yes.
great whatever grandfather.
Hey,
And so, yeah, it's just one of those like, it's another cool, like Jordan Peele will always put in some kind of like black history or black something into it, and this was one way of him doing it to kind of set the pace, which like doesn't. At first, I latched onto this. I was like, this whole movie's gonna be this. Whatever this is it. You know what I mean? In the grand scheme of things, it's not. It all ties in, but it's not like
No.
crazy about like any of this. So it's just another moment of like, hey, know your film history. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
things like that. It's a really cool moment, and it kind of just gives them a lot of validity of like why they're doing it and why OJ's doing it. It's like, you have stake in the actual film industry. Like
Yeah.
you're part of the change of the film industry kind of thing. So it's cool. It's a cool like introduction, and like you said, M kills it as far as like just being super dramatic and
Her
telling
confidence is
of
fucking
the
cool.
story and all
Reeks of
that.
confidence.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, she wins over the crowd, and they're like, okay, we're gonna film
Yeah,
this.
they're like, we're gonna film.
We're gonna film
OJ's
this.
like, nah,
So
we
they-
need a break. We need
We're
a
gonna-
break.
Yeah, they bring in the talent who is this fucking uppity white woman, and she comes in. She's like, oh yeah, she's hesitant because it's. I can't tell if she's hesitant because he's black or if she's
she's
hesitant
not even that.
because
Like
the horse.
She's not the guys. The guys that are running it are hesitant because it's OJ with the horse, and they're used to seeing the old guy with the horse.
Yeah,
And so he asks, like, where's the senior? And he's like, he died 6 months ago, and so this is his son or whatever. And she's like, oh, okay. So there's
Yeah.
the hesitance of, like, he's just not the head dude that they're used to seeing on set all the time. And, dude, I've worked with horses. In Westerns,
Mhm.
I've seen horses. I've seen people get hurt by horses.
Yeah.
I've held onto a horse as it almost went over a cliff. I've had some terrible fucking experiences with horses on sets. And this part of the movie was where I had the absolute most anxiety throughout the whole film.
Oh, wow,
Just
okay.
because it like triggered like real life like PTSD, where I was like, as soon as he was like, "Yo, we need to take a break," and the guy's like, "No, we're just gonna get the camera test or whatever." Instantly, I was just like,
you just
"Oh
you
my
just
God."
get up and you see, take the fucking break.
Dude, I was like, you guys have no idea how real of a situation this fucking is, dude. Like, because I've seen a dude get his foot broken from a horse. Like I said, like I've seen crazy shit happen with horses, and I just knew, I was like, this is going to end so fucking badly, dude. And
Well,
I just
he knows
sat
too.
there.
And that was the one thing that, like, OJ's character, like I had said, he brought that element of training the horses. Like, he knows. He's telling you guys what needs to be done, and you're not listening to him.
Yep. And then
What do you expect to
they
happen?
fucking put the light thing on him, and the horse sees itself in the reflection and just fucking gets spooked and back kicks. And this is where I'm like, dude, someone's gonna lose a goddamn head.
Yeah.
And he kicks like a bag of something. The powder goes everywhere. No one gets
Yeah,
hurt, but it's
I don't
just
know if it's
very
like
scary.
makeup, but
Yeah,
yeah.
it's like a makeup bag. But it's like one of those moments where like, oh my god, that's good. But like that for me, just from personal experiences, like that was probably one of the worst moments of the movie because I was just like, this is gonna just be terrible, man. Like I know how this goes, dude.
This is gonna end well for you,
but it does end okay for them because it just spooks everyone and basically gets like OJ fired from the job because they all realize like, oh shit, we shouldn't be using a real horse. Which again, I love animals and all that, but I'm firmly in the camp of like I'm totally fine with not using live animals.
And it was a nice scene. Anymore. It was a nice scene too afterwards where the guy brings in like the fake horse they're gonna use and
the CGI horse.
The CGI horse, and OJ's like, well, thanks for the opportunity. Like he's staying professional even though he's not. You know, he's just got fired.
Well, yeah, and you can tell the guy he was talking to too, like knew the Haywood family. He's like, because he was like, hey, don't worry about it. Like it's just a little soon, you know, like. There'll be more jobs.
You'll get the hang of it once you're and we know you lost your dad. So, but the next scene is OJ and M, and they're driving. They're leaving the set. They go to this amusement park that's in the middle of the desert.
Yeah,
it's called Jupiter's Claim.
Which there's a million of these in Arizona too. I've been to 1,000 of these.
I had no idea. I was like, this is fucking weird. Why is it?
Even Lauren sitting next to me, she's like, you think this is a set or is this real? I was like, they probably dressed it up like a set, but I was like, I guarantee you this is just a real place. And then they just changed the name and made it look like more new or whatever. There's I can name 4 of them in Arizona that I've been to off the bat. Like they're everywhere. They're just little like western towns set up in the desert where you can go and like play cowboy and see shit all day. Like they're just money traps for tourists.
Okay.
And that's what this was, just attached with like a TV show kind of thing, you know.
Gotcha. So yeah, they come to this Jupiter's Claim because OJ has the intent of selling the horse. He needs the money, so he wants to sell this horse.
Lucky. This
horse is lucky. They do this introduction of some things around the set where they show you this winking well.
Yep.
This winking well comes into play later on, but it's basically what it is you look down into this well, you give it a quarter, and you crank the well, this like ratchet on the side of it, and it takes a picture of you looking down the well. It takes an up view picture of you looking down the well.
It's an analog camera.
It's an analog camera.
Yeah,
that's down there.
It's awesome. It's cool. It's one of those things that you don't think twice about when it happens, but it's like when you look back at the end of the movie, you're like, oh wow, he was showing us very important things right off the bat.
Yes.
You know, and that's great writing.
And you're not treated like an idiot, which is wonderful. I don't expect to be treated like an idiot by Jordan Peele, but he's not killing you with like keep bringing this up.
No, and that's the thing.
It's in the beginning of the movie,
especially this winking Mal moment is like very subtle. Like I didn't think twice about when it happened. It fit with like M's character, and she's kind of a weirdo anyways, and like was in everyone's business. So when she stumbled upon like the group photo winking well type thing, I was like, oh, she's just being like, that's M. But it's like, holy shit! Like this is why he's a great writer. Like,
go back real fast. I'm sorry. The sister M, played by Keke Palmer.
Yeah,
and she does a great job. She does a wonderful job. I had no idea that she's from Robbins, Illinois.
Oh, really?
She's from Robbins, Illinois, man.
There's a lot of Illinois actors in Hollywood right now, man.
And as well as one of the actors that we'll get to later on is also from Illinois. And I was shocked to see that. But this is the first thing that I had seen Keke Palmer in. I didn't know she was in quite a few things.
She's in a lot of things.
And I had no idea. So I was like, way to go for her. Yeah, she does a very good job. You really understand that
she's
OJ
a polar opposite of OJ.
Yeah, and they fucking feed off each other so well. I totally get that they're siblings in this movie, so they did a fucking fantastic job. At this Jupiter's Claim, we get to meet Ricky. Ricky is played by Steven Yeun.
My boy. It was so good to see Glenn back, my guys. Glenn is from Walking Dead. If you don't know, that's where he got his like claim to fame. He's been in some other stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was so good to see just Glenn back. It was like, there he is, man. And
in a good
he
role
kills
for
it,
him.
dude.
He's a good role.
He's a great actor.
He plays a child star who lost his fame, but he still holds on to that.
Yeah, and now he runs like a.
And now he runs this amusement park,
like amusement
in the
park
middle of the
off
desert.
his name, kind of bullshit.
But he still acts like he's he's top dog, man. Like he's
and his like wife runs the business with him, and like
his kids are in the show.
He's just that typical dude who had fame as a young kid and like kind of fell off, and now is trying to stay relevant in his own way by like making money off of a theme park off himself, kind of. Yeah, it's interesting.
So they go upstairs, and OJ wants to talk to Ricky, and he wants to sell the horse, but he wants to start a deal with him where he can buy back the horses later on.
Because
money.
you find out that he's sold multiple horses to Ricky now to kind of
Yes.
keep the farm afloat and all. The only horse he has left is Lucky, who he's about to sell, and Ghost, which is the white horse that his dad died on.
Yes.
That's obviously a special horse that he kind of like holds on to.
So we get to see his office, Ricky's office, and in the office, M's just, she keeps talking, and she's like, "Oh, what's this?"
She's
oh, I
like
remember
fangirling.
this." Yeah, she's fangirling.
And OJ specifically told her like, "Yo, when we get in here, like, shut the fuck up, because I've been building a great relationship with this dude. I don't need you coming in here fucking it up." And she walks in and does like the thing you definitely don't want anyone to do when you're meeting someone like that's been in something where they're like, "Oh my god, I remember you were in this." Like, it's like, dude, and of course he loves it. He loves talking about the past because that's his glory years.
And there's a part of when you're watching the scene, you're like, man, he's helping her out, or she's helping him out.
In a way, in certain ways, but in other ways, you could tell OJ was like, damn, I didn't want to get him started on this fucking shit. I'm trying to have him focus on my goddamn horses because I'm trying to get.
And
my
it's
horses
also
back.
like, OJ is probably sitting there like, God damn, you know how many times I've heard this story because Ricky won't let it go and has to bring it up every time.
Correct. That's what I'm saying. It's not even so much he doesn't like talking about it. He's worried about her fucking up the deal. But it's like, I bet Ricky goes on about fucking all his shit all the fucking time. What's interesting is what we get to see.
Yes.
They zoom in on a picture of a monkey on a Mad TV magazine.
Yeah.
And it's the monkey which looks eerily familiar to the monkey we see in the first scene, or the opening scene, without like all the crazy blood on him and shit. But it just says like Gordy's Playhouse or whatever the fuck it was.
Can you look that up, Sam? What's the name of the show?
The show, which by the way on Twitter right now, the Nope account actually put out like the trailer of the series, like it's shot from the 80s or 90s.
It's the opening
awesome.
intro. I haven't watched it, but I
watched
glanced
it.
through it.
It's fucking
Gordy's home.
It's awesome. It's nothing crazy. It's nothing scary. It's like literally if you turned on a 90s show and watched an episode or intro, that's what they gave you. I was like, dude, this show's awesome. What'd you say?
I don't know.
Gordy's home.
Gordy's home.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
And the specific episode was Gordy's birthday.
Yes, Gordy's birthday.
So we get to see Ricky, and he talks about this show Gordy's Home that he was on. So this is where we get this is what this opening scene is, which is Ricky's character who is on the set. And
he's a child actor. He's like the kid in the family.
And he talks about how something very particular that he talks about, which is important, is that he invented the fist bump explosion with this monkey. Yeah. And I didn't really understand it at first, but Sam,
because there's like this pop art fist bump, like when you fist bump and explode. I did it for the camera. If you're watching on YouTube, you saw what we're doing, but like that, he has this big like pop art picture of it, and they're like, "Oh, he's like, yeah, we invented that." Okay, like, and then he's like, "I usually make you pay extra for this, but," and he fucking opens a hidden door of all this Gordy shit, because he explains how during the filming of the episode, this was, we had already filmed the season or whatever, and this was a new thing, a live audience and all that, and for some reason Gordy went fucking nuts for like, he says like 6 minutes and like 13 seconds of hell or whatever, and basically just talks about how Gordy went nuts, but in a weird way doesn't get super into it and turns it into like, oh, you didn't see the SNL skit about it?
Yeah, he's like, oh,
and starts talking about how like Chris Kattan was the monkey and it's brilliant, it's the best performance I've ever seen. And it's this weird like thing of like this murder that happened that they're not confirming is like a real thing that happened in history. Yes. And now they're like, well, we pop cultured the fuck out of it, and it's all this thing, and this guy experienced this and has just this room, and the room is just all like Gordy shit, like monkey type, like the shirt the monkey wore, the shoe that was standing up in the middle of the room.
With the blood specks.
It's just a very like creepy fucking room, and he's like not super upset about it either. It's not like, you know what I mean? It's not a weird like traumatizing, but he kind of like fucks with it all. It's weird. You get a little more of that scene as well in this. You don't get too much more, but you get to see that. Because he's telling a story about how he was there, so you do get to see the younger
flashbacks. You get to see a younger version of him, and you just see that he's hiding underneath a table, and that's it.
Yep, correct. But you just know from seeing his view, it's the table that is, it's the same room as like the scene that opened in where the monkey's at. Yeah.
So
it's one of those weird scenes where you're like, all right, so the monkey's got to mean some shit. Like, that's
How does
tying
this
in
tie
here. You know what I mean?
in? Yeah,
but it's
where
like,
does this come
I
into
was not
play?
expecting any of this. It's just a really weird thing. And, like, OJ knows about it because M has no idea. She's like, I've never even fucking heard about this. Do you know about this, OJ? And OJ's like, yeah, why do you think we don't work with chimpanzees? Like,
Yes.
this is exactly why, you know, Dad won't let us work with other animals and things like that. And it's like, oh, okay. Don't know what that means, but again, it's like
when you're trying to
overanalyze
this
anytime
fucking
they're
movie,
throwing this Gordy shit in me, I'm just like, I love this. Like, I don't know what it is. It's confusing. It's weird, but like, I love this fucking shit.
Even
it's
up
awesome.
at, like, this is, I'm not telling anything about the end, but even when it got to the end, I'm talking about it with Sam, and I'm like, I don't understand this fucking scene. And then she explained it to me. I was like, oh fuck. I'm like, okay.
That's the greatest thing about
So-
this movie. This is a classic movie where you watch it with friends and stuff. You go out and then you talk about things you think. They leave enough open-ended where it's not annoying, where it's like plot holes, where it's like they want you to go talk about what you think that meant.
Yeah.
And that's the best part of this movie.
The next scene is them. They go back to the house. He had sold Lucky. You don't really see the transaction happen, but
No, and it's not like he's
No.
getting sold to like a horse meat farm either. They're like bringing him in a stable. They're it's like you can tell it's a very
and
nice.
then I'll explain that from OJ's ranch, you could actually hear and see Jupiter's claim.
He lives
you
like
could
a
see-
mile up the mountain.
Yeah, you can see all the lights and shit
correct.
when-
He
when the
lives
shows
like
are
a
going.
mile or two away from wherever the fuck this.
So he's got
amusement
he's
park
got
is.
a decent, not I would say business with this guy, but
Familiarity.
yeah, familiarity is the word.
He's
I'm
been
looking
doing
for,
this
yes.
for a while.
Yeah, probably 2 months after his dad died, so probably 4
Correct.
months this has been going on.
Correct.
But OJ and M go back to the house, and it's night now, and we see that there's a horse in the corral, and M's like, what the fuck is Ghost doing out
Yeah.
right now? And they don't really address the fact that they don't really say that the horse got there by itself, or if that was from a
Yeah, he's
previous
just
time. But he's
well,
like,
and
"Ah,
I do
shit."
know that some like horse places have like their corrals connected to barns and stuff like
They can
that.
go
So
out
it's
whenever
the
they want.
well, not even that, but it's the idea of like someone left the gate open. It's not like they can get out
Okay.
to the whole property, but
Yeah.
they can get out to their grazing area or wherever that the walker like horse corral machine was.
Mhm.
But yeah, so that's the whole thing, and OJ just kind of gives that look like I have no idea why Ghost is out there. Like I'm the horse guy though. I'll go check on Ghost, you know.
Yeah.
And as he walks up to Ghost, Ghost is just like kind of staring off
In the distance.
in the
yeah.
distance, and he keeps kind of talking to him, you know, how horse people do, and Ghost just isn't having it. And then Ghost like gets spooked and just fucking clears the fence and
Yeah.
just takes the fuck off. And so OJ like,
He's like, fuck.
he's like, I gotta go fucking
chase
get
this
the
thing
goddamn thing. So he gets in a car, he gets him down again, and he grabs him by the like reins or whatever,
Mhm.
and then no fucking Ghost takes off again, and he falls and he runs again, and he's like, where the fuck? And Ghost is kind of gone
Yeah. M is at the house while this
the
is
whole time,
happening.
because yeah,
She's
they're all
got
kind of
loud
drinking
music.
and shit like
She's got
that.
loud music playing, and she's
And OJ's just trying to catch Ghost that just keeps running from him.
Mhm.
And then
we do see the lights. We do see the lights from
Correct, this is-
Jupiter's claim,
go out.
and they go out,
Yeah.
and you could hear. You
Like,
kinda
the
hear,
music
horses,
all dies
You kind of
and-
hear horses yelping.
You hear animals
and-
start just being, you know, like disturbed kind of shit. Like,
yes, and you get this when we were talking about the sound design. Like, this is one of those times where like the music dies, so it gets quiet. The Jupiter's claim lights die out, and it gets really quiet, and all you hear is just wind, and it's wonderful. But because the wind dies at some point, where it's just quiet.
And then you hear, like you said, like you hear horses, but they're not just like neighs. They're like sounds of panic, and like when a dog sees something outside and just goes nuts, and you're like, what the fuck's up with the dog? That's what the horses are kind of doing. And
Ghost gets taken here as well, right?
yeah, well, that's the thing is like Ghost gets taken, but you don't see him really get like
No, you don't see it get taken,
He
no.
just kind of
You don't
disappears.
understand.
Because OJ doesn't really see Ghost get taken either. OJ
No.
just sees the fucking ship
Yes,
like
he-
take
he-
off over the
out of his
mountain range,
peripherals,
and
as well
Ghost
as
is
you.
gone.
As an audience member, you're put in the same position as OJ because you kind of see out of your peripherals the back of this ship, and you're like, "Oh shit! Did I just see it? I'm in the same boat as him. I think I saw it, but maybe I didn't see it." but you know what you saw.
Yeah.
So he goes back to the house and he tells Em about
It's
it.
one of my favorite parts of the movie.
And she goes, "Are you fucking saying what I think you're saying? Because if I think what you're saying is true, then we got a big problem here."
Well, the thing is, too, he's standing there and she's like, "OJ, what's wrong with you?" Because he's just not talking. He's just like looking at the sky. She's like, because she's like, "Where's Ghost?" And he's like, "I don't know. Couldn't find him. I have no idea where Ghost went." And she's like, "What is wrong?" And he just turns to her and says, "Is there a word in the dictionary for a bad miracle?" And she says, "Nope." And I was like, oh, there it is, dude. You know what I mean? The first time, yeah. But that's what I'm saying is like, it's like, that's the clever one. You know what I mean? Like, that's the clever, like, Nope title versus, like, much more of the obvious ones that we get a little later on and all that. But, like, that was one of my favorite lines where I was like, oh, God, that's great writing. That's just great dialogue, dude. Like, and then, and fucking M's pretty much just on board. She's like, you know what this means kind of thing? Like, and
they decide that if there's a UFO, they gotta get it on camera.
Yeah.
So they
gotta get that money shot.
They do gotta get the money shot, and he says you gotta get the shot that's gonna get us on the Oprah. So like the entire movie, they're calling this the Oprah shot. They need the Oprah shot. So they go to Fry's Electronics.
That's a real Fry's store, by the way.
Oh, okay.
With the like UFO in it and shit. It's in California. Yeah.
Oh, nice. They go to the Fry's store. They're getting all their equipment, and we're introduced to a new character, and his name is Angel. I cannot remember the name of who it's played by, but this is the character that I had said earlier. This actor is also from Chicago. So, way to go for Jordan Peele.
Brandon Perea.
Yeah. And he's a young actor. I follow him on Twitter now because he was one of my favorite characters in this movie.
Yeah, Angel was cool. Angel was really
character.
fun. He was like the comedic relief without being like too much comedic relief.
Yeah,
like he was a good amount.
He's just wearing like
the fact he like got
he
got dumped by his girlfriend and he's bitching that she thinks she's a big actress because she landed a pilot on the CW network and he's like, I got dumped for fucking CW, man. Like that shit was hilarious.
It really was.
And he's like, you know how to set all this up? And he's like, well, is it hard? He's like, well, not for me, but for you, you're not gonna be able to do it. Like that kind of shit. He was just like he was a tech dude without being too nerdy, too. Yeah. Like, he just,
He was a slow nerd reveal. That was my favorite thing.
Yeah, in a way.
Every time they showed him in another scene, you saw, like, Middle Earth t-shirt and shit.
Yeah.
Like,
then he's got fucking VR goggles on later on.
Yeah, no,
this guy's funny.
Angel was a fun character, and, like, you very early realize, like, this dude buys totally into conspiracies and aliens and everything, because, like, he's the one that's even, like, suggesting shit and all that of, like, it doesn't take much.
They don't tell him what they're doing, but he's like,
why you got all these? He's like, was there a break-in or something at your house? And they're like, oh yeah, that's what happened. And
because the next scene is the next morning, and Angel shows up. And
after they said they don't need him to install anything, he makes this quick comment of like, good luck. And then the next scene is Angel in the Fry's van at their house pulling shit out, so you can tell they were like, all right, why don't you come up here? Which is where he talks about his ex-girlfriend, and then it's when he's going over with OJ about how to like position cameras that OJ's telling him to position all of his cameras like at the sky.
He's like up more.
And this is where Angel just keeps his like. All of a sudden, you see the light go off where he's like, they're trying to look for UFOs. And shit, you know what I mean? And which is awesome because he's like, there's 3 things that this could be, by the way. And you're like, what the fuck? And he's like, either
they don't call them UFOs.
Yeah, dude. Like, and you're like, and you're like, oh. Angel's a total alien dude, living out in the desert. Like, that's what makes me think, too, is, like, when you're in New Mexico, when you're out in the desert and all that, like, there's just got to be stories of alien sightings all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And stuff. So you know what I mean? So that culture's got to be already out there, and this clearly is a character that believes in all of that and has done research or whatever.
Yeah.
And, he gives the, like, they're either
us from the future.
Yeah, us from the future,
they're either us from the future,
little green dudes or whatever, right? Doesn't he say that?
Yep.
I think he said they're just little green dudes who are just curious.
And then the third one's people that are going to come and just fuck us up.
Yeah, they're hostile people.
Yeah,
they're hostile aliens.
So it's a cool like scene where they don't really talk about anything that they're doing, but everyone's on the same page of like, you know what we're doing, Angel, and Angel's like, I'll set up all the shit.
Yep.
Like, I'll position all the cameras.
Like Sam had said, he does bring up the UFOs to UAPs, which I had never even know. I didn't know what a UAP was, and I'm upset that they never even say it. It was or I can't remember if they do say it or not.
He does. He explains what it is.
It's an unidentified aerial phenomenon.
Yeah.
I had no idea what that
it
meant.
says it right away.
But I do like the fact that when he's describing all this and talking about it, he does address that in real life that the government did release all that all that UFOs do exist.
Correct.
And I was like, okay, cool. He's drawn that from maybe, and I was thinking maybe this is where Jordan Peele got his inspiration. Like, hey, now that they've released this shit,
right?
let me
like
let
that.
me ride on the coattails.
Right.
of
Which
this
I'm
for
sure
a second.
that helps all of that.
Absolutely.
You know?
So, but yeah, good job for him.
Yeah, no, he's a great character, and he stays that way throughout the whole movie.
Yes.
Like he's always that kind of fun, cool character and all that. So it's good stuff.
In the middle of them setting everything up, M shows up.
Correct.
She's got a
the fake horse that
fake
like
horse.
leads into Jupiter's claims like thing. There's like a horse with a carousel or like a wagon. And yeah, she's clearly just taken that, and it's got all the like famous flags connected to it that you've seen throughout the trailer and the poster and all that. That's where the flags are from.
Ricky shows up and
then Ricky shows up.
Yeah, and he goes, "Hey, I just wanted to, invite you guys to my show this Friday." And it's a funny transaction.
And he knows that he starts by saying like, "Hey," he's like, "Hey, I got a horse just like that," and he's about to say, "Where'd you get that horse?" And Em's like, "Hey, where'd you get your horse?" And he's like, "I don't know, my wife got it." So he can't really say, "Hey, you stole my horse," but he's like, "That's my fucking horse." Like, you can't just find plastic light up horses anywhere. You know what I mean?
Blow mold.
Yeah. And then he's like, no, we use them for training. He's like, oh, okay.
And then it's funny because Angel's also like,
all
right,
like,
see you later. And
he breaks in because right away Angel's like, oh, he's like, they're like, just play along, don't say anything. And then Angel's like, oh, you guys are doing something shady. Like, I don't want to do this. Like, he gets all nervous. and then Ricky's like, oh, don't worry about it. I'm just trying to invite you to on Fridays. I do this special.
We got a new show
every Friday. We want you to come see it or whatever. And then he just fucking dips out. But it's that moment of like, uh-oh, what's going to happen? And then nothing happens.
Yes.
Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah, so it was a cool scene. So this is where we go into the first night.
First night.
And in this first night, I can't remember exactly why OJ leaves.
He notices the lights were left on.
Is this that scene? No, it's not.
No.
This is not that scene. I can't remember why OJ leaves, but
that's not till the other night.
One of the cameras goes dead, and fucking Angel calls up M, and he's like, "Hey, your camera's dead."
Yeah.
They're like, "What the fuck? We told you not to watch our shit."
He's in the fries on the store computer watching it while there's like people stocking shelves and shit, and he's trying to be like.
He's interested.
Conspicuous
he knows
about
that
it.
They're fucking doing something.
He knows they're doing something crazy, and this dude just is hyped up on Red Bull and a gamer kid, so he's up anyways.
And the way I see it too, like he's trying to cling to something. He just lost his girlfriend. Maybe this is his way of saying, I need something.
Like I said, he's clearly an alien guy.
Yeah.
Like he likes aliens, or not likes them, but he's interested in that kind of thing. So he's just creeping on their cameras, and it's like he calls him, is like, yo. This camera's down. You need to go fucking go look at it. Yeah,
and the other one has a
praying mantis just so you can't see anything else. It's like if you look at a Ring camera and sometimes there's a spider there, it scares the fucking shit out of you. That's the moment they play. You're like, what the fuck is that? Is it an alien? You're like, oh no, it's just a fucking bug, dude. Like, we need to chill. Like, but yeah, so one of their cameras are down and one is blocked by a bug.
Yes.
So they basically have two blind spots in a way, and OJ's out doing something. He's like outside or something, but the big thing is the decoy horse.
Yes.
That's what happens this night.
The decoy horse gets taken.
Just gets fucking
by this UFO, and this is probably this is the first time we see this UFO up close, personal, and it's done very well because it's still dark. And at this point, we haven't seen this UFO during the day.
No, you just kind of see, like, the trail of smoke from, like, let's call it the tractor beam. You know what I mean? Like, you see the wind tunnel kind of coming up, and it gets pulled up. But, like, overall, it's just, like, this gray thing with a big fucking, like, hole or shadow in the middle of it, like, where the things get sucked up into. That's pretty much all.
Mushroom stingray.
Dude, you want to know, the first time I saw it, I was like, is this a giant cowboy hat? And I was like, is this just gonna be a crazy movie about like a metaphor for like westerns, like eating up American cinema or something? Like, it's Jordan Peele. You're thinking about the year on a nickel.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, the spaceship is actually a cowboy hat because his dad wore a white cowboy hat in the first scene. Otis had one. I was like, is this like Otis from the grave? It's not, you know what I mean? Like, my mind just started going nuts. And then when it kind of flew away, I could see the top wasn't like as haddish. And I was like, oh, thank God. I was like, I was ready to go down that road, but like, I'm happy that that's not where this is going.
I got your back, Jordan, but
for real,
I don't know, dude.
For real, I was like, oh, this was gonna be a lot harder to sell, dude. But no, it's not that. It's just it's a very inconspicuous UFO. It's the best way to explain. It's an unidentified flying object that sucked up the decoy horse, and the horse is gone now.
Yes.
But yeah, and then the camera kicks back on, and the mantis flies away. As soon as the UFO leaves, the mantis fucking flies away. The bug's gone.
There's a part of me that's sitting there the entire time. I'm like, the fucking mantises or the fucking
the bugs
are the aliens?
The bugs
oh my
aliens.
God, they're working against
this.
it.
Like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, your fucking mind. This.
But again, that's
not a spoiler,
because
but the mantises are not the aliens.
It has nothing to do with.
But
it.
you're just like, fuck, man. Like your mind is going crazy watching this.
That shows
movie.
you how good he is of writing because of like again, he set up expectations with his other movies that make you.
Yeah.
Think like, oh, everything has to be something.
Yes.
And sometimes it's not.
Nope.
Sometimes it's just part of the story.
Yep.
Like, it's crazy.
So
that's night one. It's pretty uneventful other than like
we get to see it, yeah.
The fucking thing gets sucked up and
they don't get the footage that they needed.
They don't get the footage they get it, but I'm pretty sure M sees it that night too.
Okay.
Like they've actually both have seen it now.
And she sees it like from the porch.
Correct, that's what I'm saying. It's the same thing where they both know, like, holy fuck, we have seen this. Like, it's just about getting it captured, and our cameras are...
Oprah shot. Getting Oprah shot.
And, because the whole thing, too, Angel was saying how technology can't just die, how they're saying that it dies. Because they're like, yo, we keep having these fucking power outages, too. And he's like, well, you got backup batteries. You're not going to have to worry about it because, things can drop service or your Wi-Fi can go out, but he's like, but your things don't just fucking die and lose power, so that's why I'm doing that. So once the camera goes out, that's when Angel's like...
And they tell him, too, they're like, oh, well, our cell phones fucking go out,
yeah,
too.
and that's when
He's
Angel's
like, what the fuck are you talking about?
That doesn't happen.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen. And that's when the camera actually goes out, and that's when Angel, you can tell he's like, yeah, your camera's not supposed to go out. So, like, something's
he does say you're in a UFO. I think he kind of probes for that. Like, he fishes for that. And he's like, you guys could be in a UFO hotspot or something. And they're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But the next day, Angel shows up in the morning, and he's like, hey, just so you guys know, I'm gonna move these cameras so that way it doesn't, we don't miss that shit again. And by the way, did you guys see? Look at this footage, and it's a cool shot because
when he gets out and looks at it and goes, "Oh my God, it is."
He does.
There.
And this shot's
shit.
in the fucking trailer. I didn't realize this was in the trailer. I'm like, oh my God, I was staring right at it too. We've all been staring at this the entire time.
Just like OJ.
Yes.
Just like OJ.
But he gets out, he stares at the clouds, and he goes, yes, it's there. And then he brings OJ and M into the computer room, and he shows him this
time
time lapse, and he goes, let me know when you see it. And it takes OJ a second, but he goes, yeah, the cloud doesn't fucking move.
And then he goes, and now that you mention it, it's been in the same spot for the last 6 months.
Yeah.
And you're like, what?
Yeah.
And now you're like, and then instantly, and that's what I love about this movie too, is because like when you discover something, they don't make you wait 3 scenes to like flush it out. Like instantly, M's like, you're telling me there's an alien hiding, or there's a UFO hiding in that cloud? You know what I mean? It's like instantly you're like, yes, this is the questions we want answered too. Like, what the fuck? And yeah, it's that idea of like, you just see this stationary fucking cloud, and you're like, that's where it is. That's it.
Because the time lapse, you
It's
see
cool,
all
dude.
these clouds going past, but this one cloud
just
doesn't fucking move. So you're like, the cloud is the fucking UFO? Which, I mean, you think that from the trailer anyways. You're like, oh, this fucking cloud.
but not like this. This is like...
Because, I mean, the
really
poster
cool...
is a fucking cloud with a flag coming out of it.
Correct.
So you're like, oh my God, the clouds are fucking...
But it's just something you're not thinking about when everything's going. When they actually point it out, it's like, oh, fuck. Like, you're right.
It makes you think twice when you see a fucking cloud nowadays,
bro, dude. I'm
like, when's the last time I had a fucking cloud?
When I got out of this movie, I periodically was looking at sky every now and then, just because it's like when I got out of A Quiet Place. Like, I turned off all the my radio down and everything. I was just so aware of making fucking noise. That's how this movie was. I was just kind of looking around like, I don't know, these things could be anywhere, man. Like, I don't know. And that's what's a great movie, man.
The next scene goes back to our opening shot of the movie, our opening scene of the movie. And this is where we get a little bit more, if not all.
I mean,
we get
this
the
is
entire,
like
we get all of the scene
like
now. We get the context.
Yeah.
Where they were doing this Gordy's birthday with the chimpanzee, and Ricky's there, and they're running the scene, and the balloon pops, or these balloon pop, and this fucking chimpanzee goes
all
crazy.
of a sudden the chimp goes nuts and starts
killing people.
And
attacking.
what's cool is the way they show it all too, because it's not like, oh, we're gonna show you like him completely deface like people and all that. Like, you see the girl's feet behind the chair, and you just see the monkey's hands come up and down, and you just hear like the thump.
Yeah.
And you see her feet jump, so you just know he's like just beating her to death.
Yes.
And that's what's like scary.
Disturbing.
It's almost scarier than watching
Yes.
him actually kill something. You know what I mean?
You see the guy,
because you're
who
all
walks
from
in.
you're all from like Ricky's perspective
say, yeah,
too.
you're
You're
in
under
that
the
POV
table, so
of-
you're kind of just seeing, and then you see like Gordy comes out and kind of walks around, and he's just drenched in blood, and then the fucking bitch's foot wiggles, and he
Twitches,
turns around and goes back and just beats her some more. And it's like, what the fuck is going on right now?
And then you see the man walk in, the guy who plays the dad, and he's like, Gordy, no, like,
Dumbass move. Why the fuck did you come back downstairs, bro?
Yeah.
I would have figured that shit out somewhere else. He like comes from downstairs, just trying to get to the exit.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, he's like trying to be nice, and then he gets like man about it, and he's like, Gordy, sit down. Like, he's talking to him like an
I think
animal.
a balloon pops again as well,
And that's what happens. And
snaps him out of it
you
again.
see a balloon kind of raise up, and then it pops, like, due to the hot lights. Because if you don't know, when they film TV, they have lights on the ceiling. That's like very, very hot lights.
like we need in here.
Yeah. Oh my god, this place would be a sauna.
It'd be so fucking hot.
But anyways, so these balloons are popping these things, and
It's setting off the chimp.
so then he fucking runs off into the kitchen, and it's
kitchen
like the
set, it's like a
swinging
swing
door, and every time the door swings back, there's like more blood on the wall, or you see like the guy like arms fly up, and you just know this monkey's tearing this dude apart.
Yes.
And then he just creepily like comes out the door, and it's the literal scene that we open with of
Yes.
Gordy like coming around the because the monkey's name is Gordy. He comes around the couch and is soaked in blood.
He's wiping his
he just
face
sits
with his
there.
paws.
And well, that's the thing. He just sits there, and all of a sudden you can tell he has like a.
He looks into the camera because you're in Ricky's POV.
But it looks like almost like he's confused of what just happened. Almost.
He has
Yeah.
no memory of what
He
just did.
like he kind of like he looks around, and he's kind of like, you can tell like.
He taps the girl's shoe like,
He's
what's up?
Correct.
He's
correct.
unsure what just happened.
He looks like what you would think a friendly monkey would be, except he's covered in blood, you know, and he just looks really confused. He taps her foot, she doesn't move, and he kind of scratches his head, and he's looking at all the blood and all that, and then he just looks dead in the camera, and you're like,
Oh shit.
oh my god, because you know you're Ricky's POV,
Yes.
so you're like, oh no, like,
But
he
you know,
found
Ricky gets out of it because
correct, because Ricky's alive,
Yeah.
but you're still like, dude, it's a 8-year-old
Still
kid,
terrifying.
What is
and
gonna
this
happen?
monkey that is fucking covered in blood, that's just like confused as fuck, and he just like slowly starts walking closer and closer, and there's like, it's a cool shot, it's like a
Yeah.
veil, so you can't see Gordy's eyes.
It's
really
through the tablecloth.
It's through
that
the
you're seeing.
tablecloth, so it's not a full, like, he's not looking clear into his eyes or anything, which becomes quite a big thing by the end of this movie as far as eye contact with animals, which and Gordy gets like right up to him, and it's this moment of like, holy fuck, and he just reaches his arm out to give him the fucking fist bump, which breaks your fucking heart, because you're like, oh, like, you know that something was wrong in a way,
Yeah.
of like, for Gordy, because now he's acting like a completely,
He's back to
his
his
normal, like
Yes.
what a chimp that works on TV would kind of be, you know what I mean? And then it just fucking, the screen gets splattered with blood because they blow his brains out.
Yes,
You can tell
they
like
shoot
the
him
cops
right before,
came in
right before the fist bump.
right
he
before the
gets
fist
shot.
bump. The exploding
man.
fist bump, so to say.
Yeah, right.
It's weird to feel bad for him
It's
because
because he just murdered
Yeah.
all these people, but you feel terrible because you can tell like
There was a
something
trigger.
fucked that animal
There
up
was
a trigger.
for a second. And they also, this whole time, you see the shoe still in the play. The one shoe is
Yeah.
pointed up this entire time.
Now, if we talk about that right now, is it going to ruin
I
anything?
don't. I mean, at this
I
point,
don't
if you've made it
understand
this
it.
point, so this is my whole theory about this, right?
Okay.
I think the idea, and again, this isn't confirmed, and I don't think it's supposed to be. I
Is this
think
going to ruin what the twist is of this movie?
Not really.
Okay, that's fine.
Because it's the same concept of what happens to the horses already. That's
Okay.
my whole idea.
Okay.
So we've already seen whenever this spaceship is coming, right? This UFO, we start to lose power, and we start to, all these animals, bugs, and all this shit start acting weird, right? My thought, because also what happens too is the lights and shit are like flickering on and off. The on and off things like losing power and in and off when you come into the scene for the first time. I firmly believe that the UFO is over the studio. And the pull, now it's not fully like pulling or abducting or whatever, but it's enough that it's causing these animals to go nuts and also raise these balloons. The balloons are making it pop, but I do think that it's truly this thing that is causing these animals to go a little haywire. Now, I don't think it's supposed to be part of the movie to show you, like, hey, this thing has always been around kind of thing. It's more so, the hard example of Gordy is the idea of American fucking spectacle of watching that horrible crane crash, of taking an animal, putting a wild animal into this thing, and if someone gets their face fucking eaten off, everyone would go look that up.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So that's the real thing of it, is just to be that idea, again, of predators, animals, training animals versus what you actually think you can train animals for. But I do think that the spaceship is what caused the thing. It's not just the popping of the balloon.
Okay.
That's my theory.
I'm sure there's got to be some type of fucking confirmation for this eventually.
I don't know.
Unless it comes from Jordan Peele, you can't confirm. You know what I mean?
I'm sure that once.
I don't know.
You know, it's only been. If
I was him, I wouldn't say shit, bro.
It's
I'd
only
be
been a
like
week since-
Christopher Nolan, where they're like, "Well, what about
Christopher Nolan
the
movie,
fucking
man?
thing? Did the top fall or not at the end of fucking Inception?" And
Yeah,
his
that's
idea
that's about dreams. And
the whole
shit,
thing
man.
is, though, if you're worried about that, you miss the whole point of the movie. That's the whole thing. I don't think this is supposed to be some crazy connecting crazy thing. It's supposed to just peel back another layer to show you another example of what we're dealing with.
Well, that's why I think like the shoe is just
And that's
another
why
bad miracle.
See, no, that's why I think
Straight
I think that thing stands straight up purposely because of a tractor beam type thing.
I think I buy the bad miracle thing a little bit more.
That's fine. That's fine, because I've already had conversations with people. No, because I've already had conversations with people, and they're like, I exactly think what you think, too. So that's totally fair, because I feel
on board
validated.
with the tractor beam thing. The problem
I feel
is that
validated.
I'm like, there would be no fucking electricity. Everything would be off.
I agree that if it
In a
were
way.
present and flying over at that moment, that it would spook the animal more
That's what I'm saying,
to lead
'cause
it
that's the
into
thing.
killing. Because the balloons popping, I could see it startling Gordy.
Yeah.
But putting that
That's the
bait
thing, and
into
the
murder
idea,
mode,
and it comes in, and like Gordy shakes it off. He physically like comes out of like a trance where he's like, "What the fuck is going on? Like I'm covered in blood," kind of thing. So it's that's not just like an animal going nuts, So like again though, I don't think it's a question that's supposed to be answered. He wants us sitting here talking about this. That's what makes that scene so fucking good. Is you can tie in and pick it. The Gordy shit in this movie was my favorite stuff in the movie, to be honest. I fucking loved all the Gordy
I
shit.
related all the Gordy shit back into after we talk about
Yeah, we'll get to that.
scene that comes.
I want the answer though, Jordan Peele. This is something that I feel like I'm like, what the fuck? This is not something that I want to be left in the dark about. The next scene, we go back to night because the previous scene chronologically was Angel coming over, pointing out the cloud didn't move, fixes the camera angle. So now the night is there, and Emerald is asleep at her trailer. She's watching documentaries, and she falls asleep. And OJ sees from inside the house that in his barn the lights are on. So he goes down to the barn, and the sprinklers are going. They get the sprinklers on to keep the dust down when the horses are running. But he shuts off the sprinklers, he shuts off the lights, and he starts walking back towards the opening, or the entrance of the barn, and the fucking lights and the sprinklers turn back on, and you're like, oh shit. He turns around, and
It's like a black figure.
It is
Just,
a
like,
fucking
standing
like
there.
it's like a 2 foot, 3 foot.
I thought it was
black
like an
figure.
animal, or it looks kind of like an animal or something. It's
And
just
it's got, like,
weird how
it's
it's standing there.
Yeah,
it's
it's got,
but
like,
it's a
an
complete
alien-
shadow.
Yeah.
Like, so you can't. And it's one of those, they don't make a big. Again, this isn't a movie that's made to jump scare you with sound cues and shit. Like, there's no like, dun-dun-dun, and
Yeah.
and it's standing there. Like, no, it's like Lauren literally was next to me, was like, "Do you fucking see that?" And it took me a minute. I was like, "Oh no." Like, oh, there is something standing there. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, this isn't just a fucking barn.
It's good lighting.
That's what I'm saying. It's just
Right.
like, it's very subtle, but like once you see it, it's the scariest thing in the world.
Yeah.
Where you're like,
It's
oh
startling.
no, and it just starts getting kind of bigger, which you know, it's getting closer. Like, you know, like you see it kind of like moving, and
Yeah.
that's when.
Like I said, it goes from like 3 foot, and then it just automatically grows to 5, 6.
Yeah, and,
fi- 5
it's
foot. 'cause
just like coming closer to you, and it's like, oh no, and OJ does the typical like, nope, I'm
he
out of
says
here.
nope,
In that moment,
and you're like,
as
yes.
he's walking closer, 2 more heads pop out of like the stables.
Well,
And
yeah,
that's when
There's
he's
more
like,
of them that
nope,
come.
Nope, and then runs.
And then he walks away, and I think this was the jump scare that got me, which was there was one like in the fucking
It's like
stable
hanging.
next to him, hanging upside
Yeah.
down. I was like,
He knocks him
I
out.
think it was.
Punches in the head.
I think that was the one that scared me. That I jumped in my seat. I was like, fuck.
Yeah, and then he fucking clocks it, and the helmet falls off, and it's Ricky's kids
Yeah.
from the thing, and you know that they're like playing a prank on him because they stole the fucking horse.
Yes.
That's like the kids are just getting it. Some classic farm horse prank guy. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, same thing when you see signs and they're like, "Oh, the brother's back, fucking with our crops."
Lionel
You know what I
Pritchard
mean?
and the Wolfing
Yeah,
Brothers,
you know what I mean? Like, it's that kind of thing where they're like, these fucking son of bitches. And the kids think it's hilarious because they're just, he was scared as fuck, and they
Yeah.
just run away in their little alien costumes. And
And it's funny because as an audience member watching this movie, you're scared as fuck too.
yeah,
you're
'cause
like,
you think
oh
this is the
my
moment.
God.
But I also remember sitting there being like, there's no way they show us the aliens this soon. There's no way. It's like, it's not ready to see these aliens yet. Like, I was not expecting to see them yet. And then so when it turned out to be a kid, I was like, okay.
yeah.
Here we go.
Still got me,
Yep,
though. You
still got me. Yep.
Jordan Peele.
It's awesome.
The next morning, Em's talking to OJ, and she's like, you know, if we're gonna get the shot, we need to get somebody better. So they decide this is when they're gonna call Holst, the DP from the commercial that they were on in the beginning of the movie. They call Host, and he's editing a video and watching over video footage that he's taken, and they're like, you know, we know that you have a particular shot. We think that you'd be good for this. You know, we don't have money to pay you, but we understand that a lot of DPs, you know, they just want to do it for the thrill. They want to do it for their resume. So he's like,
Well, the footage he's looking at too is like, it's all animal in the wild
Documentary
type
type
documentary thing. So you get the idea that this dude is like, he's a documentarian DP, and he's seen like he has that thrill of like catching like
The
shit in the
impossible shot.
shit in the wild, you know, because it's all the things he's always watching is like animals eating stuff and things like that. So like he's got to catch these moments that happen very quickly, and that's all the footage he's watching. So you can tell like when they call this guy, he's not just your normal DP, but like this is up his alley. Like,
Yes.
like he's something that would interest him.
he shoots them down.
He
He's
does.
like, nah, you know, that's not my thing. But we'll learn later that it actually is his thing. And then while this is going on, we get to see that Ricky is doing his show.
Well, and then I think a little before this too.
Maybe,
was
I got lost in this
yeah,
part.
the OJ and Otis flashback.
Yes.
And that's a big thing. It's a super quick scene, but you hear a horse going nuts out in like the like play area, and you can tell. I mean, obviously Otis is alive, so you know this is a flashback.
Yes.
And he turns to OJ and he just says, you know, some horses aren't meant to be tamed. And then like that's all you get. But it's enough of that moment where you're like, that's a quick scene, and that was very important. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So and like OJ wakes up, and you can take that idea of like he's got this like for some reason he's having this kind of moment of thinking about his dad when he's talking to him about like you can't tame some things, just aren't meant to be tamed. And it's weird because at the same time too, it's like the horse is going weird. Is it because of we already know that this cloud or this alien is going around, and we know that he's been around the ranch and all this shit, or the UFO, so you don't know what's causing it. But you know, it's two different things. They're putting the idea of like some things can't be tamed, and maybe this UFO's been around a lot longer than they thought of just the day it showed up when his dad died, kind of thing. You know? So it's just a little quick scene, and I'm not sure exactly where it falls in, but it's one of those nice like kind of
It is.
important, quick scene. So
Yes.
I wanted to throw that in there before
Absolutely.
I forgot. But anyways,
they go. Yes, we see Ricky, and he's putting. This is so you're assuming this is Friday because he's doing his new show,
Yeah.
and he's got Lucky, and Lucky is in this like glass cage, and he's playing it up to the audience of, you guys are gonna see something real special here, and this is actually the quote that I said from the beginning of our episode, where he's like, you're gonna see a spectacle, and are you guys ready? Let's do it, and
You're gonna leave here changed.
yes, you're gonna leave here changed.
right before he starts it too, he makes a comment that he's like, "Oh, well, this is kind of starting early," which was interesting.
Yeah,
It starts to make more sense when we get into some things in a little bit here.
Yeah.
But like Ricky makes a comment how everything's always at the certain time or whatever, and this one seems the show is starting early, like because like the like
he's
cloud
looking
or
at the
whatever.
clouds.
The cloud is like moving a little bit.
He's
like
insinuating that he knows what the fuck is going on.
Correct.
And at this point, I'm like, oh my god, Ricky's a fucking alien. Like I'm like, oh my god.
this is another thing. This
You're-
is something Jordan pointed out to me that is a good theory to talk about too.
So I'm gonna keep running through it
keep
whenever it
going.
pops up.
I will. And once we get over it.
So yes, Ricky introduces that his old cast member's there, and it's in the trailer that she's got like her lips and shit, or her skin off of her face is pulled off. So you're assuming that Gordy did that when she was.
Well, that's the
on
thing
set.
is like when I saw, because you see her in the trailer.
Yeah.
And when I saw her in the trailer, I was like, oh, some kind of alien bitch or like survived something like this
Yeah.
or whatever. And then you realize like, oh no, that's just one of the actors from the show that a chimp ripped her face off. It's like,
Which she's
Oh.
wearing a sweater of herself.
Yeah, which
too.
is
I was like,
weird
oh
as
my
fuck.
gosh.
creepy. But and then Ricky, he even makes a comment how like that was his first crush or whatever, and like is his co-star, and like but again, you assume the aliens or something did that to her. She got sucked up and probed or some shit. But no, it's like, oh, she survived a wild chimp attack.
Yep.
Like, very scary.
Yes. In the meantime of this going on, OJ is back at the house, and OJ is like, I'm going to get lucky.
Yeah, he's
leaving.
He's tired of this. He's had the like I said, he had the moment of the flashback with his dad about training horses and all that shit. And you can tell he doesn't have Ghost anymore. Ghost is gone because we don't know where Ghost has been. And so he's like, yeah, I'm going to get lucky back from Ricky. Fuck this.
Yeah. So we go back to Ricky, and he's doing his show, and he, like we had said, he's looking up at the clouds, and he's telling everybody, hey, make sure you look, but you can't take pictures, put your phones down or whatever, because he knows that you are going to lose your electronics, that nothing is going to fucking work.
And that's what we were going to talk about, what I hinted at the beginning, is this movie doesn't have a dun music coming. You know this fucking thing's coming when all the electricity comes out. As soon as the electricity comes out, it's uh-oh. That's its cue.
Its tell.
And again, it works just as well as a music cue. It's so cool, like even though it's not the same. And I get it'd be nice to have maybe a theme song or something. But at the end of the day, visual cue to get your fucking heart and everything going, it works just as well as the Halloween theme when you know Michael Myers is coming.
Yes.
All of a sudden, all the electricity goes out, and you're like, oh no, like it's here. And it's very scary. So so basically tells everyone can't take pictures and all that, but here we go. We're gonna do this, and like rips the fucking cover of the horse off of it, and like
we see Lucky is inside of his glass case.
So you can tell Lucky's basically just a fucking sacrifice.
He's the meal for the aliens to come and get. And the UFO comes straight up and starts sucking everything.
Doesn't give a fuck about the horse, bro.
Nope.
Goes right after the people and everything. It's just taking
all
everything.
the people, and you're like, oh shit. And when you're thinking, oh shit, Ricky is thinking the exact same thing, because Ricky's like, what the fuck is going on? This is not how this works. This is not how this has been going.
The other shows have been
time.
going, correct.
So you're like, oh fuck, okay. OJ shows up after all this is done.
He kind of walks up to the aftermath of it, like the town's
like,
been hit by a tornado, essentially.
Yes, the entire Jupiter's Claim is like, there's nobody there. Not just this stage area.
Yeah, the whole
the entire
theme park so to say.
It's just,
it looks like a tornado kind of hit it.
So OJ's walking through. He makes his way over to the corral or the stage, whatever you want to call this.
He sees a key in the Doesn't it? No, that's not where she's a key.
No, he
Keep
doesn't see
thinking
it.
Yeah, it's
But he walks in and he notices Lucky is in this glass case.
Yeah,
So
Lucky's
he's like-
untouched.
But he knows because there's no electronics going on right now. He knows that it's above him somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So he's kind of like, "Hey, Lucky, get your ass over here."
Yeah, because he goes into like a stable kind of thing,
Yeah,
like
he's
the
got
like
hidden-
the cover,
he's got shit
and he's
hidden.
trying to call his horse
Yeah.
over to him, like to keep it safe or whatever.
So he does get knocked out. I believe what happens is that the UFO does see him, tries to suck him up, but in the middle of this tractor beam sucking, he gets thrown into a wall. He doesn't get taken.
He, like, gets
so he
blacked
gets
out.
knocked out.
Yeah.
In that time, I'm not sure why Angel's at the house, but Angel's at the house.
He was.
I don't remember why he's there. So it must not be too important that we gotta stick on it.
No, I want to say it's like him.
He's just
like,
hanging out,
He
right?
always
He's
is there now,
become-
and he's always talking about checking on the cameras and all. Like I feel like he has taken the role of himself as like I'm gonna be the guy in the chair watching shit.
Okay.
Because if something goes wrong, I'm the tech guy.
I can see
and
that.
like that's he has no girlfriend. He has no. You know what I mean? Like
This is what he's grabbing onto.
correct. So like if you don't, that's the beautiful thing about this too is like. If you really sit down and pick them things out, yeah, they don't explain everything to you.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, they didn't need to treat me like I was stupid. Everything, you know what I mean? Like, they left the good questions, and the things that I don't really need explaining or didn't care about, he didn't have to cover. Like, why Angel's there at that particular moment? I don't know, because they're fucking trying to catch an alien, and he knows about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's that
Yeah.
simple, and he doesn't need to take 5 minutes to tell me that in his
No.
movie. That's what I love about this, man.
But Angel's at the house, and they're...
Angel and Em are together.
Yes, Angel and Em are together, and they're... In this time, it's kind of mixed back and forth, but OJ does wake up, and it's what seems a few hours later, because now
It's
it's
dark.
like, it's full out dark. And Angel's leaving the house, so he gets into his van, and he starts driving away, and the power goes out.
His van dies.
Angel knows, so he fucking runs out, runs back to the house. OJ's still driving. He's not in the area that the UFO is at.
Yeah,
so
because he's got Lucky,
Lucky
in the trailer.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he's coming back to the house, and he doesn't notice anything. But Angel and Em, it's raining. It's a really rainy night.
It's like
downpour.
Yeah,
you
correct.
can't see
Big
fucking
old
10.
fat rain.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So the rain stops over the house. So at that point, you're like, oh fuck, it is
Also,
right above.
that was one of the coolest visual cues is when the rain was like just stopping because of where the ship was floating.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It was
that shit
wonderful.
was just
It was
awesome.
real cool.
Yeah, just torrential downpour, and all of a sudden it's just silent, and you just hear a couple drips. You know, like all of a sudden, and it's just like this thing's over the entire house.
Yes.
Like it is just Angel and Em stuck in this house.
So Angel and Em are in this house, and you start to hear these tinks and loud
The same
noises and
sounds
shits
that we've
are
kind of
hitting
heard from
when the
OJ
OJ Senior dies.
Otis died. Yep.
Yes. So you're like, what the fuck? But now it's adding up in your head as an audience that it's dropping shit from the people that it
Pockets
sucks
of
up.
things and stuff. Yeah.
Nickels,
And
keys,
the rain is now blood. Like it's just.
I can't. What's your take on it? Is it throwing up or is it shitting out?
I think it's like a digestive. I think it's. I don't know if it's throwing up or shitting out. What's the difference? It's both your body getting rid of.
Yeah,
I
the
think
UFO.
it's like
The UFO's
the way-
dropping this shit.
Yeah, it's getting rid of it.
I
It's
think
the
it's the
be-
way
the-
like owls and shit do. Like how it's
I
carved,
guess, yeah.
it keeps what it wants and then it spits up. Like,
yeah,
that compacted
yeah.
ball of
I think
bones and
like
then
I
it
think
digests.
yeah, I think that's yeah. It's like it's not meant to eat like inorganic type bullshit.
Yes.
But the whole blood effect was purely horror scary. Like in theory, yeah, it should just eat the people's blood and whatever. But like from the rain to go from normal rain to no rain to just downpouring blood on your house,
Yeah.
terrifying.
'Cause you're
so
inside
I'm cool
you're
with it.
inside
I don't
the
need
house.
an explanation. We're
You're
cool.
inside the house in this scene.
Yeah, you see. Yeah,
and
you're
you
watching.
see the windows just oozing blood and shit everywhere, and it's really cool because you do get like OJ's coming up on the house, and he kind of sees it, but it's like I said, it's very rainy, but he could see that there is a dark form UFO above
over
this
the house. Yeah.
So it's a cool visual to see it because you do get to see like the blood on
and
the
it's
White
just one of those things.
House.
It's like, who would have thought like just a house getting blood rained down on it would be so scary? But that's one of those scenes where like, this is fucking terrifying. Like this would suck to be a part of this fucking thing. And you have things that are falling from the sky at incredible speeds, because we've already shown like all this shit is like a nickel is deadly from it. So it's like, is someone gonna get smoked in the head again? You know, you had that. I had that worries of like, is something gonna fucking take somebody out again?
Yes,
like,
are we gonna lose M or
correct?
Angel?
Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't know because it's already happened. But yeah, it's just it's a way of not telling you in your face, but telling you, hey, this is what happened to Otis's dad. This is what.
Now it's clicking in your head.
Now this is that. It's inorganic matter from people's pockets or whatever it's sucked up that it's just not eating or not taking, and it's throwing it back out on the people. And it's fucking terrifying.
In this trip, this is where the truck dies. So
yeah, I was gonna say,
OJ's truck dies.
Because again,
because
all
UFO.
power. Again, anytime this UFO shows up, it's not just electricity, but like everything. It just dies. Nothing works.
Yes. So the UFO sees him. The UFO hovers above him, and he's not looking at it. He's just chilling in the truck because he says nope.
Yeah, he does the click. He
opens the door.
He cracks his door open and looks up a tiny bit and just nope, and shuts his door and just is kind of like trying to focus on the road, just like hoping it'll pass, almost kind of thing.
But while he's sitting there and it's kind of quiet, this is a jump scare as well
scare.
because the UFO drops the fake horse. Clover, yes. Drops Clover
Which
with
is
the flags.
the fake horse
right,
with all the flags just right through his goddamn window of his truck. The horse head's just like sitting in his goddamn passenger seat.
He's like, okay.
Yeah, and then
Once the UFO does pass, he does drive up to the house and he gets into the Fry's van, and he finds a way to like not signal, but I think he honks.
He
to Angel.
Yeah,
and I'm like, hey, come on, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a big moment for the movie because I think this is the point in the movie where we realize the first twist.
And it's a huge twist because it's something that had never crossed my mind in a million years.
And that is that the UFO is not a UFO. The UFO is in fact an organic alien being.
The UFO is the alien.
Yes.
Yeah. OJ's like, it's an animal.
Yeah, that's what he says.
Yeah.
He's like it has behaviors of an animal, and it's like, oh, it's just a big predator.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what it is. Like we're dealing with just like a big predator, and it's like since as long as I can remember, I believed in aliens. Just I believe in aliens more than the Bible, bro.
How could you not?
Like, and it has never once crossed my goddamn mind that like a ship wasn't just a ship transporting things. Like that it could be this inorganic alien object. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, well, yeah, why the fuck not? It's an alien. Like, why the fuck not? It makes perfect sense to my brain.
Me think, I'm like, do you think that Jordan Peele watches the movie Cars and he's like, fuck, man, I'm gonna do that with a fucking spaceship. I'm gonna make the spaceship a fucking...
I don't know how. I don't know if it's mushrooms. I don't know if it's just him having abilities. But, like, that is such an obvious thing when you look at it. But it's like, dude, how have we had movies for hundreds of years and that hasn't been in a video game? That hasn't been in, like, a comic book? And, I mean, there's inorganic ships and shit like that, or organic ships and stuff.
Yep.
But, like, for it to be the UFO and whatever... blew my fucking mind, dude.
And if anybody wants to say that's bad, they don't like it, that's stupid.
No, that's a hell of a twist, dude.
You have the fucking right to think, yeah, that's silly, I don't like it, but you cannot deny the fact that it is original and you've never seen it before.
Fuck.
So go at it what you will.
And it's a fucking crazy twist.
It is.
Because it took us that long into the movie. This is a good chunk into the goddamn movie.
This is about 3/4 in the movie. This is like the beginning of a third act.
So I'm saying, like, this is and this is where I drew my comparison of how I felt this movie felt for me up to this point. This movie felt to me like I was watching Jaws for the first time.
Oh man,
that's how
love
this
Jaws,
felt.
man.
I do, but this is why. It's the idea of you don't see Jaws until an hour and 45 minutes into the movie.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first time you see the fucking shark. The entire movie up to that is built off suspense, built off seeing people die, built off seeing this, built off mixed direction. All this shit to get you to the point where you finally see that fucker come out the water. That's what this movie was. It just built you with so much anxiety, all of this ship, up into the point of revealing this big beast, and boom, the ship is the beast.
The craft
and now it's like,
thing.
okay, now we got to deal with this. It's not just like, oh, we got to land the plane and kill aliens. It's like, dude, good luck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like, so that to me, like, and again, yeah, I'm a big Jaws fanboy, but like, I've used that analogy to a couple people, and they're like, I kind of agree with that. Like, if you're a Jaws fan and get that feeling of Jaws when you watch it.
Yeah,
but
absolutely. I can see that.
It's a movie built off straight up pacing and thriller for a giant reveal that you're just like, you know it the whole time and you're expecting it, but when it hits you, it still slaps you in the fucking face.
Because
and that's what this thing
expect
does,
it,
man.
the entire time, in what you've ever seen,
It
of a
looks
UFO,
just like it.
You're just like, oh, it's a UFO. That is a ship. In your mind, you're like, that's a ship. There's no way it could be a thing. There's no way that's a being. There's no way that's an entity of a fucking living thing. So when it is introduced as that, you're like, oh, so that hole that's been sucking things up is the actual mouth of this fucking thing.
Correct. It's
Okay.
It's awesome when the light bulb goes off in your head, dude. It's so cool.
It doesn't like when people look at it, and that's why it eats people? I'm not sure on this.
Yes and no. Well, that's like a big, like, they always say don't look a predator like in an eye. Like, if you got a pissed off dog, don't look at it in an
Oh,
eye.
I always look things in the eye.
Well, that's
I think
that
it
could
shows
get
my. I feel like that shows my alphaness. That
it
I'm not
does.
afraid of
It does to little dogs, but then you go do that with a tiger, and a tiger's gonna say, "Yeah, motherfucker, okay," and then you get eaten. That's the whole idea, and that's why in the next scene, that's when fucking OJ's like,
Don't they tell you to do that with bears though? Like put your hands up, make yourself seem bigger.
make
than
yourself
you
really
are?
big, but you're not supposed to look like animals right in the eye. Like they said, you're not supposed to do that with dogs. Like
Doesn't
dogs
that show
don't
your
trust
fear
you.
though, right?
Huh?
That shows your fear though by looking away.
Well, no, you're challenging their dominance. So you have to take it. If you're doing that to an animal, you're basically taking it on a risk that they're gonna submit to you in that moment, which is a bad risk to take.
I mean, it's a gamble either
Against-
way. I mean,
yeah,
it's either die or don't. It's either die like not like a bitch, but it's either die by not doing anything or trying to do something
Look,
and maybe having it work.
I've never had very much experience with crazy animals, but I'm gonna go by the people that do and tell me don't look at their eyes.
I don't have
I'm
much
just not
experience
gonna
with
do it.
bear attacks. But
Yeah, so like I said, you could probably get away with some dogs and stuff. You'll probably be all right. You'll be all right. But I think if you find yourself in the wild or at like the zoo or something, you probably shouldn't just get in a locked stare down with an animal. You might
No.
cause some shit. But go ahead and try, dude.
The worst thing
Let
you
me
can
know,
do is
dude.
smile at animals.
So it's cool, but OJ also gives us this little like realization moment of like Ricky's been treating this thing like a fucking animal, and it's not. It's a predator, and like you can't be doing.
and
He
this
basically
is,
like points out like this
Yeah.
is why this motherfucker got eaten. He thinks that he can just run this thing on a schedule, and it's not. It's a living, breathing predator, and you can't play around with.
and this
predators
is where
like this.
Sam like at the end of the movie, when the movie finishes, like this isn't spoiling for the ending.
No, I mean
But
we're
I'm-
getting there anyways.
But I'm when the movie finished, I was like, I don't really understand the importance of the Gordy scenes, and Sam explained it.
Yeah, I took it as that's the story as how Jupe ended up in the position that he did, is he went through this traumatic ass thing as a child. He had this bond with Gordy, who
The fist bump.
he had the fist bump, he had this relationship, but then something happened where he went, it triggered him, goes nuts, kills all these people, but he didn't kill him. So in his mind, it almost planted that seed of arrogance of like, oh man, there's something
If I keep,
special about me.
if the horse is the fist bump
yeah.
with these things.
No, that makes sense. That's valid.
And
That's
it's,
valid.
And
I was
I'm
like,
like, I feel like it showed his journey of, all right, well, if I can do this with Gordy and I can make this bond, I can do it with this, and I'm gonna make money off of it, and have this friendship, and make this thing happy by feeding it all in one swoop.
No, that's not a bad theory at all.
I was
I
like,
think
wow,
that
like,
that
okay.
plays. I like playing with the idea. That's what Jordan was talking about. Did Ricky experience something that day that no one else on that set did because they were dead or gone? Which is why he has all these shrines, why he has all these tunes. Like, it's one of those things, did he experience... Again, this is us more buying into that the
Yeah.
ship was present that day or whatever.
Yeah.
But the idea then is he's now spent all this time kind of trying to get back in touch with that thing, which is why he has this, like, relationship built up of like trying to feed it and lure it and have all this thing set up, because he's actually been trying to go after this thing for X years. And that's the thing, you don't get answers to any of this. That's the beautiful of it, is like it doesn't feel like a plot hole in a way of like, well, what the fuck. Like, I'd like to know what Jordan was thinking, or Jordan Peele was thinking, you know, but at the end of the day, like, this is what like good film discussion's about, you know. It's like, yeah, that could be right, or that could be right, you know. It's like, but you don't feel cheated by not knowing, because you know that shit meant something to the story, and you still got the point.
Fucking Jordan Peele is just making movies that.
Well, I said this is again like the South Park thing, where everyone's drawing all these conclusions. He's gonna be like, yeah, I meant that. Sure, you know what I mean? Like,
I feel like Jordan Peele is just not just like, obviously he's doing these for other reasons, but he's like, you know what? What's a movie? Let's make a movie that the fucking film school and film teachers are going to be talking about, and they're going to be like, fuck, what did he mean by this?
Yeah.
He's just making movies for people to talk about.
That's what I'm saying.
And it's wonderful.
It's working.
If what he's setting out to do is just make movies that people are going to continue to talk about, he's fucking getting an A+.
Which also means we'll never get confirmed on any of these things, because he's never going to start telling secrets.
No.
But either way, it's cool. It's a cool discussion. Let us know what you guys think when you've seen it, or if you have a different fucking idea, because we're not ruling anything out.
No. So the next scene is we get this. I mean, they
talk about getting the game plan after that.
What's his face? Like Monopoly pieces.
Well, they show up on the news. The news shows up because, like, this is cool, because you're like, okay, all these people are fucking missing. They do get some news footage where they're like, the newscasters are saying, where the fuck did these people go? There was a lot of rain that night, so maybe it was a flash flood that took people away. And Holst sees this shit going on in the news.
This is when Holst decides, like, oh, okay, maybe I should get involved.
Maybe there's something.
Not making some shit.
There's something bigger here going on. And this is where the plan comes. Because Holst comes to the house and he's like, I got this camera, and it actually
shoot on old film.
Yeah,
like,
it actually doesn't take. It's a crank camera. It's something that I made. And what's cool is that it actually is an IMAX camera. It's one of those big ass IMAX cameras.
Yeah, and I mean they used to fucking film like that. Like they would crank. You had to hand crank that fucking bullshit, dude.
There was a flashback scene here as well, and it's where M has a story about her dad and how she was supposed to receive a horse as a gift. It was supposed to be her first horse, and the horse's name is Jean Jacket. But the dad brought it to a set, and it's a funny story because it's the set of the Scorpion King movie.
Yeah.
Which is cool because you're like, okay, this is when the
it's
movie
cool
takes
because
place.
it's just like a relevant type thing.
Yeah.
The cooler thing is just to get OJ in his fucking suit up before he goes out, and he puts on the Scorpion King crew out.
Yeah.
Dude, that had me like, yes, bro, because that's so real. Like, you get swag like that from everything you work on. So I was like, bro, I have a Nightmare hoodie just like that. Like, fucking so cool, dude.
If I'm a black dude, this is my cosplay. I'm wearing a fucking Scorpion King
awesome,
hoodie.
Dude.
And I'm wearing the reflectors on the head. Like, that's my cosplay.
It's badass. It's a cool look.
It really is.
Yeah. But anyways,
so they have the scene, and they say, oh, well, I was supposed to get. M says that she was supposed to get this horse Jean Jacket, and they decide that they're going to call this alien Jean Jacket. For the rest of the movie.
That's what.
Because they're going to be talking on
OJ,
walkie-talkies, so
like,
this is their easy way of saying
called.
Jean Jacket. They get their plan together. They grab the wacky inflatable men that we see.
Fucking genius idea. Yeah. So cool.
They just scatter them throughout the entire ranch, so that way they turn
the
them all on.
The idea is when one dies, they know where this thing's moving if they can't physically see the ship, if it's like a cloud or whatever.
Yes, because
and it moves super fast.
Which is another cool thing about this scene is that it all takes place during the day.
Yeah.
You're like, oh wow, we're gonna see this fucking not UFO. We're gonna see this fucking
whatever
thing.
this fucking thing is. It's bright daylight.
We're gonna see Jean Jacket during the day.
Yeah.
So you're like, okay, this is going to be interesting. How is Jordan Peele going to pull this off?
Very creative, like how they set like a minefield of just wacky inflatable men. Just so like when one dies, you know where it's moving. You can kind of pick the pattern up of like where it's coming. It's awesome.
So they get the plan is that Holst is going to be up on the hill, and he's going to be using his crank camera to get the shot because they want the Oprah shot still. M's going to be back at the cameras or at the monitors watching the camera footage to just see if they get the footage on those cameras. If it's out far enough, they'll be able to use these cameras.
Yeah, correct. The power only dies a certain radius within the ship.
So they should be able to use one of their 2 cameras and get this footage.
And Angel's with
Holtz
helping him, and then OJ's whole thing is like, I'm just gonna fucking be the bait.
I'm gonna lure it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna get on the horse.
Don't worry, I'm not gonna look up.
Because that's the whole thing. Is like by now OJ's said multiple times like, don't look at it. Predators don't like getting like the whole thing is like, just don't fucking look at it. If you don't look at it, we'll be all right. Like, and I can do that. And he puts the blinders on the horse, which is cool. He puts like these blinders on, like horse racing blinders, so the horse like can't get all geeked out. It's cool.
Which, if you're watching this, when you do watch this movie, it's not that this thing, Jean Jacket, has eyes all around it. You can look at it. You can see it. It's almost like the mouth, the bottom
it's like
of it
when it's
is also
when
an
it's
eye.
like above you. If you were to look directly at it, that's when like
I don't know exactly where the eye is.
I thought I saw one on the rim, like almost like if you were going.
Yeah, you said that. I can't remember.
I can't confirm that at all.
I can't physically see an eyeball, so I have no idea where the fucking eyes are.
Yeah, but it's not like the eye of Saruman in the middle of his fucking face, like looking at you.
Everything else was smooth, and it almost looked like a slit around the ridge, and I'm like, all right, maybe that's
I don't know.
Eye.
I took it as the eye and the mouth were one and the same.
Yeah, that's exactly.
So just don't look into the fucking. Maybe
don't
it's his butthole. Maybe it's his butthole, and they're like, don't look at his butthole.
The big giant circle in the middle of the fucking thing.
Yeah, it's a darker fucking gray color. And what's really cool about this scene. And another reason why I don't like Holtz's voice is that the pool of the song that he's singing, because he sings a verse, but it's really quiet,
badass,
and
dude.
It is badass.
This
but his
is a
voice
moment
is
too
distracting. But he says,
"One-eyed, one-horned, flying purple people eater sure looks strange to me."
It's crazy you don't like his voice. 'Cause I think his voice is what makes his character.
His voice it was too distracting. It was too fucking deep. That's just me. If this is a hot,
but he talked too fucking slow. It was like,
I get it.
Talk like a cowboy. You ever hear fucking Sam?
In reality, I've
Sam
never
Elliott
met a real fucking cowboy. So I think Sam Elliott's a fake ass cowboy. But
I don't know about that, bro. That's crazy.
Just because he's played fucking cowboy,
he grew up on like ranches and shit. Like he comes from a family.
I don't fucking know that.
Then don't make statements like that. That's what I'm saying. Don't call someone a fake fucking cowboy when he's like one of the original ones.
If he's just in cowboy movies, that doesn't make him a cowboy. I don't know his background.
I understand.
They need to make a fucking documentary on Sam Elliott. And I'm like, okay, I got it. He's fucking real.
That's ignorant.
He's a cowboy.
That's fucking ignorant.
That's like saying fucking Tom Hanks is an astronaut, alright? He's been in enough astronaut movies. I don't fucking know. But, that aside, I just don't like the voice. If you guys like the voice, if there's anybody else who's on my side, like, hey, this fucking voice is too distracting. I like his voice. It's just distracting. It's too distracting for this fucking role. That's just my opinion, but I'm also not Jordan Peele.
You know what? There wasn't a kiss in the movie to bitch about, so we'll give you the voice.
There wasn't. Yeah, they do the flying purple ear scene, and
it's cool. And for a split second, I was like, "Don't tell me this thing's gonna be like literally gonna turn out to be like
a purple."
He heard the song and was like, "I'll make a movie about that." You know what I mean? Because at this point, again, you're like, "What the fuck?" You know? But no, it's just like a cool kind of like weird moment of like.
That reminds me of this song.
Yeah.
I forgot that another while they're explaining this plan. I love, and it's also in the fucking trailer, and I didn't realize that it was in the trailer. And it's when M and OJ are like, "Yeah, boy," they're fucking. I thought it was so funny. I thought it was a good brother.
Well, they had a great brother and sister like relationship.
Did, with the
they like were annoyed with each other, but you could tell OJ was also like pretty protective of her.
Yeah.
But she also kind of cared about OJ and the farm. Like it was a very. It's a good relationship, and OJ was always like, "Yo, I'm gonna be the bait. Like, just make sure you do your shit." Like. And they're always doing the like eyes on me kind of bullshit, you know. Yeah. So they do it like three times throughout the movie. So it's a cool relationship with them.
So they're implementing this plan, and fucking a
dude
on a bike, which I can't find who voiced this guy, because I thought it was fucking Nicolas Cage.
There's no way.
I know, but I was like, fuck. I'm like, did Jordan Peele fucking meet him? I was like, hey man, Nicolas Cage, let me borrow your voice. I thought it was Nicolas Cage. Anybody else thinks?
I have a feeling he's a random fucking guy. Probably someone on the crew.
It was, but I was like, what the fuck? I'm like, why can't I? You can't find him. I can't find out who played him. Yeah, this guy on a bike shows up and he's got a mirror helmet.
The helmet's
so
fucking
right away
badass, dude.
So right away you're like, oh man, does this guy know something that
he just looks like
maybe he's been hunting this thing for a
yeah,
while?
he just kind of looks like
it's TMZ.
Yeah, it's TMZ, and he's like, I'm trying to get the shot. I'm trying to see this thing. Blah blah blah. And he's wearing a mirrored helmet, so you're just like at all times you're like, oh no, like you know you're gonna see this fucking thing. Like this is gonna be bad, man. Like you just know. And M's basically like, yo, we're shooting a movie here. Like we're doing some tests and shit.
property.
Like you got to get the fuck out of here. Like this is private.
She's trying
stuff.
to save him.
She's trying to save him, but she's also trying to be like, get the fuck out of here because he's got his camera and all this. And he's on a motorcycle, an electric motorcycle. He just decides like, nah, I'm gonna power through this and go closer to try to investigate more, and just fucking starts hauling ass. And then that's a moment where you're sitting there and you're like, okay. And then M out loud's like, or M or OJ, one of them's like, you know what happens when you fucking lose power when you're going 60 miles an hour? And you're like, oh no. And sure as shit, dude hits the zone where there's no power, and his bike just fucking stops, and he just fucking goes, and you're like, oh my god.
Yep.
You think he's dead, and they're like, well, is he dead? And he just starts like screaming, and it's like, oh my god, now you're gonna be like luring this fucking thing even closer into them. You know what I mean?
So OJ,
it's like the total wrench in their plan that they did not need.
And OJ rides up. OJ at this point is riding Lucky. He has Lucky back, and
because they're like all in position trying to like get where the shot is supposed to be, where they've decided we're gonna catch this thing right here with Holtz.
So OJ rides up to this guy, the TMZ dude, and he's like, hey, you need to get up. Something's going on, but you need to get up. You need to get your ass out of here. He basically tells him, hey, when something shows up, don't look at it, man.
Yeah.
Don't fucking look up. And his walkie-talkie cuts out because the thing is above him. Yeah. The power cuts up the power. So he starts. He's trying to calm this guy down because he sees the UFO, and it takes the guy.
You could tell that OJ hits his point of, I'm not gonna save this dude. I'm gonna get on my horse.
He ain't gonna fucking listen to me. Then I'm just walking the other way. So the kills the dude. OJ starts going back, but the UFO is sticking on him. Mm-hmm. And OJ pulls out this fucking awesome thing because he's going full speed on Lucky, trying to get back to the house, trying to get the shot, and to scare off the jean jacket. He sets out this fucking parachute, and it's got all the flags attached to it because that's what the thing ate. Because in training, you know that, hey, this jean jacket, this UFO, is not going to take it again because it's afraid.
Yeah, and he's actually made a comment of like when he comes back to the house after fucking Clover gets dropped on his car, the fake horse and all the flags. He like makes a comment how like I don't think it'll be eating flags anytime soon. He doesn't like the flags, like that kind of shit. So it's a genius idea of him like putting the flags on the real horse. So this predator, now that we know is not a ship but an animal, so to say, is kind of confused and thinks it's a fake horse and doesn't take the bait, kind of thing. It's a genius,
and it works.
It works.
It works because the UFO leaves, and at this point, as the audience, you're like, they got the fucking shot. Yeah. And Holst is not fucking having it. He's like, I want more.
Yeah, he's like, this isn't the shot.
He fucking gets up.
Because they're also, Holson, since it's a crank, they run out of film. So they keep trying to like change the film and get new film, and then it's like in the right spot he's trying, but the film's not ready. So it's like, you can tell he missed like the actual shot. Because it's cool too, because they're showing a lot of this through a square. Like you're seeing through the lens, like through a TV screen of like what they're seeing. So you kind of see like half of it in the corner of the frame, and you just know like the Oprah shot. They've already talked about it. You need it to be the undeniable dead center like shot. You know what I mean? So so fucking Holtz is just not having it. It's like, dude, fuck all you rookies. Like, I'm gonna go get my goddamn shot, bro.
He gets up, he starts walking up the hill, and he's still cranking, and you see the fucking...
Right into the eye of the beast, bro.
He looks right into the fucking thing.
It's kind of cool.
And
it's kind of badass, dude.
You're like, okay,
He didn't need to do that, but he's also a crazy film guy. Like,
Well,
what better way to go out?
I thought he was doing it too, and he was like, I thought he was gonna drop the fucking camera so
So
they
did
could
I.
have the footage.
But then
no,
I
he
thought
fucking-
instantly too. I was like, well, it's just gonna eat. It's just this
It'll
thing's
spit
been
it out.
sucking everything up and spitting it out.
It'll
But
spit it out.
at that point, though, like the camera falls from that far up, it's
Yeah,
gonna be
so
all
he-
dead.
he
So
looked-
it didn't. That footage is just gone.
Yes.
But whatever.
So
it was a cool moment.
It does eat Holst up, and then it goes after Angel.
Mm-hmm.
You don't really see Angel look at it, but it goes after Angel.
Mm-hmm.
And Angel falls, and he gets wrapped up in a tarp, and he gets wrapped up in barbed wire, and I'm like, fuck. I'm like, he's gonna get all cut up and shit, but it tries to suck him up again, and it gets the barbed wire, and it gets more of the
He
fence.
puts more barbed wire around himself.
Yeah. So he's like, you know what? I'm gonna make sure I protect myself. So he wraps himself in barbed wire, tries to eat him again, but it's like, fuck that. Jean Jack tries to eat him. He's like, fuck.
This is also
Jack's
where
like,
I
"Fuck that."
think they purposely made like that mouth look super square how they do. I think it's supposed to be like, again, we're talking spectacle and all this. It's me looking into it, but I think it's supposed to be like a frame, like a TV frame.
Okay.
That was like the idea of it.
Yeah. So the jean jacket
Just
try
ripped to
he
shit.
gets ripped up to try to eat this fucking barbed wire, and this is the point where I'm not on board with it being daylight, and I'm not on board with seeing this thing in its full element.
Oh, I didn't care. This didn't bother me when it like unraveled, dude.
It was like
I was straight. I didn't give a shit.
For listeners, like, the best way for me to explain this is that it's a white silver color is how this thing looks.
Yeah.
But it opens up the way, like, if a beetle were to fly directly at you and you see the hardcover wings
come up.
come up, that's the best way for me to describe
I mean, I think
it.
it looks like
Like a
like
torn
after.
up parachute.
Yeah, after it, like,
Torn
alright,
parachute,
so not even
yeah,
that,
like
but
that
it's not
elements
even
of
that.
it
It
as
looks
well.
like kind of like from fucking Pokemon, like a tentacle, like a squid
Yeah.
type thing. Like it's just like it like opens up and has this like bigger head looking thing without eyes. There's no features still,
Yeah.
but like there's just all these like
Limbs. if you
limbs
will.
that are
It's-
like not
it's
limbs.
so-
They're like sheet, like ribbon shit.
Floating-
Yeah.
But again, it's like it's one of those
tissue
things that
paper.
it's like, dude, if to this point, I never fucking assumed that a ship could be an alien. So now, who am I to say what the fuck aliens look like at all? Now,
Yep.
you know what I
That's
mean?
what I
That's
said. I'm
that's
like,
where I'm at. Where I was like, dude, this thing turned into a ship. This thing's a like, you know, I thought I was getting green guys at one
Yeah.
point. The fact I didn't get that, I'm in no position. If he sees this ship as that, by all means, it can be that.
I'm
like,
not arguing
cool
with that, but I'm still entitled to my opinion of saying it looks kind of silly. When it opens up, it looks kind of fucking silly. It looks like just ripped fucking shreds and balloons, and it looks fucking silly to
I
me.
liked it.
It's just a little weird. At this point, you know, you're buying all the weird shit that's going on.
I think
So
it's
you're
just
I'm
instead
eh.
of being super scary, it's just super organic looking.
yeah, it's
That's
really,
the thing. It's
really
like a
hard
living
to,
organism.
It's really hard
It's
to
not
explain
like it's
how
not
this
like
thing
fucking
looks.
Alien from like Alien, where it's like this xenomorph type
It is
scary
It
thing.
is the
It's
last
like
thing that you could possibly think of
I
when you
agree.
think of an alien. So that's why he's fucking A+ for originality. But this was the part that I was like, I don't know. About
and it's a
that
part that did not bother me one bit. So
I accepted it.
one.
I was
This
like,
thing,
alright.
this thing has like I can't tell if the box is a mouth or if the box is his eyeball.
well, it's
Like, it
wherever
goes
wherever.
from-
That's where it's sucking
Because it
things
goes
up.
back
So
and
it's like,
forth though, because it looks at OJ on one side and it looks at M on the other. I'm like, is that its eyeball? Can it move to each side?
That's the thing.
What the fuck is this thing?
Again,
It was kind of hard, but I'm like, okay, it is
yeah,
what it is.
it's a
And
spaceship
I was fine with
giant
the
alien.
eyeball.
We're
It's
good.
literally the flappy drape look of it that I was like, I don't know.
That's
about
fine. That's fine.
That. But it sees M in the house at this point, and it's it's all torn up. It just tried to eat Angel. But it sees M at the house, so it goes to suck up the house, and M's got to make a run for it. So she decides, I got to go for the fucking TMZ bike. I'm not exactly sure where OJ is at this point,
It's like down the road.
but she decides, I need to make a run for the TMZ bike. So she goes after it. The UFO's coming after her. OJ distracts it. And it's kind of in the middle between OJ is on one side and then the UFO and then M is on the other side. And
Because that's the thing. It's like it's going after OJ, but then it thinks that OJ's a fake horse.
Yes.
So it pivots and goes after M, and then OJ realizes, like, oh, fuck. I gotta get its attention again because now it's going after fucking M, which was not part of the plan at all, kind of thing.
So he kind of gives her the IC, like, points his eyes and points to her, like, I got you.
That idea of, like, yo, I'm about to risk all this shit.
I love you, I'm sorry,
I'm
forever, I love you very much.
We're going.
So
it's a badass moment,
they insinuate that he dies, but you don't get to see him get sucked up.
Yeah. He just...
And people have theories, so we'll get to that.
People do have theories.
But M does get away. She gets on the bike. She gets far enough, or the UFO gets far enough away that the electric bike turns back on. M gets away. She drives to Jupiter's claim, and she sees this giant fucking... She walks past the winking well, which is a nice little setup.
Yeah, but they don't linger on it either.
At this point, you still haven't thought about it.
And even in that point when she walks past it, you're not. It's the last thing you're fucking thinking about.
But it is one little setup. Like, and this is why I said it earlier. Like, I love that Jordan Peele doesn't treat us like an idiot. I love that she doesn't like run past it, look at it, and then run back to what. And
it's not like we had a 5-minute scene of like when we first got the winking well in the beginning of the movie. It wasn't this really long thing. It was literally just her being out of place kind of moment. Like. You didn't really see this one coming.
It was a good callback. So M runs to this giant inflated balloon of Ricky, and she starts taking it off of its anchors, and it starts flying up. And she's like, "It's gonna fuck you up. You can't take this. It's gonna fuck you up." She has the hope and the faith that Jean Jacket is gonna
go after this thing, and they already know it can't digest
inorganic
material very well. And this is obviously the way biggest thing, because that's the thing too. When it's sucking up people and all that, it's never like pulling up full like cars and full house. Like it rips things because of the force of like the tornado G's and stuff, and it'll suck things up and spit them back out like chairs and shit. But it's not like this thing's like abducting full blown like big inorganic material at any time.
Like you said, it's not getting a car.
Correct.
And you do get to see when it does eat all the people at Ricky's show, you do get to see almost a POV of somebody.
They're like in the digestive
and that's
tract.
kind of where you first realize that this is a thing. Like this is not just a fucking ship. This is the digestive tract and the esophagus of this fucking of Jean Jacket. So she sets free the balloon. She goes to the wishing well, and she's like, "It's gonna fuck you up." And she gets all these coins.
Well, that's the thing. There's coins everywhere on the ground because this thing we've already shown that this thing like spits out anything inorganic. So there's just coins and keys and just shit laying everywhere. So she just starts grabbing all these fucking coins and goes like to the winking well. And then you're like, oh my god.
This is because the winking well is in case you don't remember from the beginning, the winking well is
it's a crank. Because the idea of
analog camera,
it's supposed to look like you're cranking up a bucket from the wishing well, and you crank, and then all of a sudden, boom, the camera goes off and like takes a picture of you.
Cranking the camera, just like
correct, but that's correct. So it's the idea that the camera's not digital; it's a crank camera. So the fact that the electricity's out doesn't matter at all.
So the UFO is curious, or the fucking Jean Jacket's curious, and she, M keeps cranking. She keeps putting a coin in because the thing's not coming out, so she has to keep cranking it. She has to keep getting these pictures of just the balloon, and it finally goes right into the frame. She gets the picture of Jean Jacket eating Ricky as the balloon, and she gets the Oprah shot, we would say.
Yeah.
The thing flies away, and you assume that it's eating this fucking balloon inside of it, and it just explodes.
The balloon pops.
And while it explodes, all the power turns back on at Jupiter's claim. All the music and everything around her, the games. So okay, this thing's dead.
Yeah, this thing's probably gone.
All the reporters are outside parked right there, which is interesting. You're like, even if they didn't fucking have the Oprah shot, there was enough people there that have survived that are going to say, there was something there.
But the whole idea, that's the whole thing about the Oprah shot too, is like M wanted it to get money. Like they were all broke. Like they're not just in it to fucking be the first ones to see a UFO or capture a UFO. They literally want to be the first ones with hardcore proof because they can take that to Oprah, quote unquote, and get whatever money they want for it, and it'll solve all their fucking money problems. So that's the thing is like, they got what they wanted at the end. They got the straight up, it in the center of the frame. They have hardcore proof picture of the UFO as it's fully extended or whatever.
Yes. And then after it explodes and all the reporters come out, M sees that OJ is riding Lucky and standing by a sign, by like an opening. And the sign says "Out Yonder" above him.
And a lot of people are kind of jumping into this, but this is not the first time they've shown that sign. That's like the area they do all of that like shit in.
The
so
show.
like
that's when them walking back.
Correct.
To the show,
So that's the thing is like there's a lot of people like, is he dead? Is he not dead? Kind of thing. I'm in the camp he's not dead.
I'm in the camp he's not dead either.
I don't
but
think
if
he
you
got
want to look at it and say "Out Yonder,"
it is a nice
is a metaphor for heaven.
Correct.
Absolutely.
Correct. It's one of those things where it's like, did he put that in there just so people are going to go have this talk now?
Yeah.
It's like, you
Absolutely.
know what I mean? Like, it's... Because, again, it's like, Out Yonder does stand for all that, but at the same time, they've shown that Out Yonder sign 4 or 5 times up to this point, and they've showed this is the area that they do a lot of shit in, so it's not, like, out of nowhere. So it's one of those... But, like, again, I think I'm in the camp that OJ's alive.
I agree.
I take it as it's showing that he is the true animal wrangler versus Ricky wanting to be that, and he just kind of got lucky on a spoof versus that OJ.
But is he alive or dead?
OJ?
Yeah.
Alive.
Oh, okay.
Because he is an actual ultimate, like, he knew his safety meeting.
So M sees OJ and the sign, they smile at each other, and the movie ends. That is the end of the movie. There's nothing after the credits. There is nothing more to this movie other than her seeing it, and this is one of the best things about this movie is that you have, Get Out, and you have Us, and there's deeper meanings to a lot of things in those movies, and there's a lot of things that you have to look into. Nope is clear-cut a fucking story about this brother and sister who want to get a picture of a UFO. That is the
like,
smallest
and
description of this
again,
movie.
we want to pick apart Gordy shit and try to find more deeper stuff, but like, again, at face value, this movie's literally an alien movie.
Yep.
Like, and he told you that in the trailer, what this is going to be, and he gave you it, and it doesn't feel disappointing at all. Like, it's fun to explore more deep into it. I'm not exploring like I usually do to make sense out of things or to make something good or bad. I'm literally exploring it because I can't get it out of my fucking head, and I just keep thinking about Gordy. You know what I mean? Like, shit like that. It's like... And that's just, it's a beautiful movie, dude.
It really is.
I feel like it parallels what we do in real life with spectacles. If we see something, we're going to try to guess what happened. Like when you pass a car accident, you're going to be like, what was that person doing? They were probably not
paying attention. He hit it on the head, but the whole thing being spectacle, like, it's like, duh. Like, this movie just bleeds that.
Was this what you expected? I'm gonna say no.
Like,
it's
no,
not
in
what
a way, but I'm glad it was what it was. Like,
I agree. 100%.
Like, I wanted, because I remember saying, like, if it's just an alien movie, I'm cool with that because I just want alien stuff. I don't need it to be like some crazy deep message about something or whatever.
You expect it because it is Jordan Peele at this point,
but it's so in a weird way, it's not what I expected, but it's also exactly what I expected and delivered to the greatest.
It is not what I
execution.
expected in a good way.
Yeah.
Like, some people would say, oh, no, I wanted it to be this, but no. This is exactly what I expected, and I loved it. When the movie ended, Sam and I sat there for a second, and I went, okay. Like, that's all I could say was, okay. I didn't have to talk about deeper meaning. The only thing that I was confused by at that point was I didn't understand the Gordy scenes. And when Sam was like, well, I take it as, the fact that he was able to train that or he thought he trained that animal and it fucking still did what it did.
That arrogance.
It's what he did with horses and with with Jean Jacket, and it fucking.
It's also I think he was making a true commentary also too about like using live animals in film. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of like film shout outs to this. Like if you're a film guy, like kind of like a Once Upon a Time in Hollywood effect, where it's like, oh, if you're in Hollywood, you kind of get some things that he's throwing in there that if you weren't in, you wouldn't get. And I do think that there's a clear like message of kind of like mistreatment of animals in Like, just like, kind of the things that go bad where, like, maybe you shouldn't be using live animals to make your goddamn movies. Because, you know, that kind of message a little bit. You also kind of circle back with OJ, his great-grandfather, all that, the first black jockey to ever be a stuntman and get a horse on camera. It took the first black animal wrangler to be able to be the one to capture an alien on film. You know what I mean? If you want to break it down to that,
absolutely.
like, there's so many levels you can go into with, like, what he was trying to say with different scenes. It's amazing. It's awesome.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite scene? Sam, this goes for you as well.
Yeah, the Gordy scene, dude.
The Gordy, okay,
I fucking loved all the Gordy shit, dude. Fucking, it got me, man.
And it's really only one scene.
It is one scene, but they break it up like 4 times and show you like 30 seconds different each time. But yeah, like I really, just because I said it, like, it's the thing that doesn't fit in the movie really, but it like makes the most sense in the movie in a way. Like, and that's what draws me to that scene, and I just keep thinking about fucking.
Yeah,
Gordy,
like I said, I didn't appreciate it till after I was
It's one of those, like, I can't wait to go watch this movie again. Because there's definitely shit that I missed, or 100%. Like,
or even if you didn't miss it, you're gonna appreciate it a lot more on the second watch. Sam, favorite scene?
Honestly, it was when OJ and M do have their moment of yeah, and they just
yeah, the plan,
because it's just such a realistic, relatable thing that you're like, yeah, I used to do shit with my brother like that all the time.
Yeah. See, I loved. I think my favorite scene was where Angel's setting up all the shit, all the cameras, just all the interaction with that and them, and they're like, "Are you guys searching for UFOs?" And they're both like, "No, hell no." It was just a cool character development as well for Angel, where, you know, he's moving past his ex-girlfriend, he's trying to find something else, and as well as, you know, OJ and M. That was my favorite scene. I think we both already hit this as well, that it's a relief that it's more of a simple story versus the fact that it's something that you gotta dig deeper.
I think it's great is because now he'll probably put out a movie that's super complex after this, and you're gonna go in disarmed because of this.
Okay, good,
you know what I mean? I think he's just like, it's him setting himself up where he's gonna kind of feel fresh every time, because he did too. Like, Us wasn't as crazy of twists and stuff as, like, Get Out, I would say, but, like, it still had those, like, vibes in a way. Whereas, like, this was completely different. Now he can go back to that way if he wants, and you're not going to be expecting it because you're going to kind of be going in off Nope vibes, I feel like.
Yeah.
But at the same time, too, you're also going to be like, well, he's capable of this. Like, he's just got you kind of where he wants you, where it's a great place to have your audience.
It's wonderful because, like, when we walked out, we had also talked about the comparison just to M. Night Shyamalan in general, where, you know,
that's a dude who suffered because of that.
Absolutely. M. Night suffered because he typecasted himself as the guy that has to give you this fucking twist at the end of all of his movies.
And then he made the live-action Avatar, and that didn't help anybody.
Yeah, so with Jordan Peele doing this, with giving you the twists in Get Out, giving you the twist in Us, and granted, this movie does have a twist that, you know, the alien ship is actually an alien itself.
Yeah, but it's not.
This wasn't like Us and Get Out. And it's great because now he hasn't typecasted himself as the guy who has to give you a fucking twist at the end of every movie.
Yep.
And it's wonderful because he did this to himself, versus M. Night doing 4 or 5 fucking movies and then being the guy who says, "I'm not going to give you a twist." You let down your audience, and it's not his fault, but it is his fault.
Yeah.
MVP actor or actress.
They're all pretty good, but I mean, fucking OJ killed it, bro.
Yeah, Daniel Kaluuya was, like I said, this was the first one that I really appreciated his acting, and you've seen him in a lot of things, but I was like, who? I don't know if you watched. He has a Hot Ones episode that came out a couple weeks ago. And I was like, oh man, I like him. He's a cool dude. He's like a fun guy. I'd like to hang out with him. Eat some fucking hot wings with him too. Sam, did you have an MVP? Your favorite character?
I thought Keke Palmer did good, especially because the first thing I ever watched her in was, like, I think it was called True Jackson VP. It was on Nickelodeon. So she was a Nickelodeon, like, versus a Disney Channel kid. So it's like, look at you. You can act now. Good job. You're damn good at it.
I'd always heard things about Akeelah and the Bee, and I'd never seen it. But I'm like, I need to go back to 2006 and watch Akeelah and the Bee. What tier, for, like, ranking, what tier would you put this in? It's like the top tier in movies in general, not just Jordan Peele. Like, this is a top tier movie, middle tier, bottom tier movie. How would you place it? Because my placement, I'm gonna put it in the middle.
Dude, just like I'm gonna put it top just because of the shit that comes out lately. The stuff in the last, let's say, 5-10 years.
Okay.
Like, I feel like this stands out big time.
Because it's original.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's what I'm saying. Like it's there used to be nothing but original movies almost, and now it's like very rare to get an original movie that also fucking knocks it completely out of the park.
Mm-hmm.
And for that alone, like especially in like the thriller genre, like
hats off.
I cannot not place it in the tier just because of like what
Okay.
it did for me. It's top up there.
Sam?
Yeah, I would agree
Top tier?
that it's top. Yeah, because either if it's not a direct sequel or it's a spin-off in some way, shape, or form, they're gonna try to tie it to a
or it's been a
character,
movie or something, or even if it is original, sometimes they just don't. They don't hit like this movie.
No,
did, man.
even
I don't
something
know.
as a readaptation of something Shakespeare, you're still recreating something versus this being just Jordan Peele making a movie.
Yeah, I can't deny that it's original, but I'm gonna put it in the middle tier.
It's fair.
Ranking of Jordan Peele movies now. He's only got 3, so we got a top 3 here. I'll go first. My number 1 movie. I'm gonna go 3. I'm gonna go 3 first. 3 is gonna be Nope. I'm putting 3 as not that it's the worst by any means of a bad movie, but I'm putting 3 as Nope. I'm putting 2 as Get Out. I like Get Out, but sometimes I just don't want to watch a movie that I have to overanalyze. And that's why I'm going to put that as 2, which means that Us is my number 1. I enjoy Us. I loved everything about Us. I like the suspense of Us. I like the idea of Us. I like the twist of Us, of it actually being fucking...
Being an AIDS commercial?
Lupita Nyong'o, I think her name is. Like, I love that it was switched from the beginning of the movie. You're getting that scene in the past that doesn't have the context until the end of the movie, just like Nope did. We were like, oh, fuck, that was the importance. And I loved that twist. I did like the twists in Get Out, but as far as...
the ending of Us got me that I didn't like. I didn't like the whole We Are the World AIDS, like,
I loved it.
That thing. That's where it was like, okay, now we're going to throw in that message at the very end.
I'm like,
What I loved
agree.
about it is...
I agree.
The moment in any movie that I watch where a bad guy wins, which they do. I mean, our main family and Us does get away, but the tethered have already taken over. So the bad guys won. So, and that's automatically putting it up a few notches for me because I love where the bad guy wins.
It's not even close for me. I mean, it's close. I mean, Get Out for me is number 1 by far. It just that's a one in a generation type.
It's absolutely a great movie.
That's one of those that you're just like, oh wow, and it's the first movie that I ever have been in that I was like, holy shit. Groups of white people are terrifying.
Yeah.
That's what Get Out shows you. It's like, holy shit, we do some weird, creepy shit. And, like, if you were not us and, like, just the odd one out, like, imagine how that feels. And Get Out shows you how that would feel, how the other side of the coin is. Which was awesome, because it's just a completely perspective change. Then I'm going to have a close second in Nope, and then third will be Us. Because, like I said.
Okay.
Third, I think it's scary. It was cool and creepy and stuff. But, like, I just have issues with the Us story, especially as it starts... wrapping up.
Yeah, absolutely in no way, shape, or form.
But again, it's still a good movie. Yeah,
no way is it in Jordan Peele's 3 movies.
Correct. I mean, his worst movie is Candyman that he produced, and he didn't really make it. That's why I can't give it to him. But that's
Sam, top 3.
I did kind of 2 rankings, but for film wise, I'm the same as Tyler. I have Get Out as my favorite, just because. Yeah, I mean everything that it represents. It's a good film. It's a good twist. It has everything going for it. Nope is number 2, and then Us at the end, just because, the ending for that just fucking killed it for me.
Yeah, I agree.
There's no fucking way we noticed a copy of every person just chilling underground. Like, nah, that's not for me.
Why not?
But my alternative list, I kind of did a list of what I would go back and actually rewatch, and Nope would be my number 1. Like, I'm more likely to rewatch Nope than I am Get Out or Us.
That's fair.
Then I'd switch my
Maybe rewatchability.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would switch and put Nope, Get Out, then Us, but Us stays at the bottom.
Fair.
Hey, we all get our own opinions. And that's why we're here.
You know, Tyler and I like when people kiss. You don't. We have our different things, okay?
He kind of does. He still has a problem with fucking Force Awakens.
Oh yeah,
Or
they're big.
Rise of
big
Skywalker.
fucking
Rise of
problem with that
Skywalker.
one, dude.
But
Not as angry as you, so
True.
we'll take it.
I like those rankings. We all have our reasons. That's all that matters.
They're all good movies. They're
Yeah,
all
they
three
They're
very
all
good
fucking
movies.
three amazing movies. And that's our talk on Nope, everybody. So I hope let us know if you guys like the movie. I really want to know. What is your ranking of your Jordan Peele films as well? Does anybody have Nope in their number one? Because if you have their Nope in your number one, I want to know how you felt about it. From there, we're gonna move on to our read, play, watch. For my read, I have another comic book. I'm always pretty much gonna have comic books. I don't read many books. However, I do want to get to your fucking Jurassic Park book. I'm trying to get there. I have Superman, Son of Kal-El. This is a newer comic book. They just released issue 13. This is the first issue and the last issue that I want to show you. So this is John Kent. This is Superman's. This is
Cool.
Kal-El's.
Super old school.
Yeah, this is a really cool one. This is John Kent, so Superman's son, and Superman is gone. He's off-world. He never explained where he went or why he went there. But he's gone from this storyline, but there's still Lex Luthor, there's still people trying to take over the world, and John Kent is taking on this role of, I'm the Superman, I'm the world's Superman, I gotta protect the world. And in this newest issue, they've introduced a new character, and she's right here on the cover. Her name is Dreamer. And she basically has premonitions of the future. And in this issue, they do a really cool thing, almost like a Final Destination type deal, where you get to see every member of the Justice League die. And you're reading, you're like, holy fuck, Batman just died? Holy fuck, Flash and everybody just died? And then the last 4 or 5 pages were like, nope. This was my dream, and I'm telling you about it, and he's envisioning it, and now we got to figure out a way, because it's a week from now, of how to stop it all from happening. It's a wonderful storyline. This is the same John Kent that some people are pissed about because he's actually gay, but it works so well, and it's a great coming of age story for him. Superman being gay. It's wonderful. I love this storyline. I'm currently going through all my comics that I get and trying to figure out which ones I can cut because they're not as good or as I thought they were. They're not as good as they were when they first started. So this is one that I cannot see myself getting rid of because it's just such a good storyline. And I think they have one book. Usually the book is like the issue 1 to 6, and so they just got a 13. So they should be having another book come out in the next few months. But Superman, Son of Kal-El, check it out, guys. Play.
I'm playing Batman Arkham Knight again. And I'm just stuck because I'm trying to complete it at 100% achievement-wise before the new Batman game comes out. So I've basically just been grinding Batman Arkham Knight.
Where you at? Because it does have percentages, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think technically I'm like 70% of the way completely done with it. So yeah, I mean, it's such a good fucking Batman game. I can't stress it enough, and we've talked about it before, but it's just the replayability, the story, everything about it is just fucking insanely good, and it's crazy every time I go back to play to be like, oh my god, like yeah, they did hit that out of the park, they did do that. So now I've just been on a mission to just completely beat that before the new big Batman thing comes out. So I just admittedly just haven't been playing anything else, so that's all I've been playing. So even though we've already talked about it, that's what I'm going to let you guys know, because if you still have not played it, go fucking play it because it's awesome, or just come check it out on stream because that's all I'm streaming right now. So
say I think I've given up on Disney Emoji Blitz.
Yeah, everyone.
I got to level 38, and then I was on that job, where I was working 14 hours a day and getting home late, and I wasn't even concerned with the level, so I was like, fuck it, I guess I don't need to play this anymore.
Nice. So welcome to phone games, dude.
I kind of gave up on it. Let's do watch.
Black Phone.
I'll say, it's going to be our same one, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we both watched Black Phone, and
It's cool.
How'd you feel about it?
It's cool. We're not gonna get into a huge
No.
review about it or anything. I don't. I mean, it's not as good as like Nope. You know what I mean? Like, but I think it also was
This movie's original.
It's an original movie
Yes.
as well. So like, it's another original one. I think Ethan Hawke was cool. I think he's a creepy like, weirdo. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't completely scary. It wasn't anything like that. It wasn't like, oh my god, this is amazing. But I was happy with it. I think you could wait till it goes on streaming though.
Stylistically, it's a very good movie.
But it's an original horror movie.
Yeah, tone-wise, it's fucking good. Like, the kid actors in this movie were fucking
Pretty
solid.
Cool. Yeah. It's a solid horror movie that's got a fresh kind of feel to it.
A lot of people like to say elevated horror, and this is definitely that. It's not just fucking, a slasher. It's not just a ghost film. Like, this is an elevated horror film, and yeah, I recommend it. But yeah, like Tyler said, probably you don't have to go see it in theaters, but
no,
check it out.
It's a good movie. It was decent.
I do have another watch.
Cool.
Just because I knew we'd tie on this one.
Yeah, I figured.
Sam and I just finished watching the first season of Only Murders in the Building. This is the one with Steve Martin, Martin Short. Did you watch this?
I know, I've seen parts of it.
Selena Gomez.
Yeah.
Fucking fantastic.
Yeah, it's cleaning up at the like Emmys and shit like that.
What's great about it is that it's the first season is 10 episodes. They're only 28 to 33 minutes each. So you've already you've already looped me in because I'm like, yes. Up until the fucking episode 9, which is the episode that they reveal who did what, I was guessing. And even when I had ruled somebody out as not being the person who did it, I was still going back and saying, fuck, maybe it was that person. Maybe I gotta rethink my shit. So, wonderful misdirection. It's funny. They don't sit on too many jokes of old jokes being Steve Martin and, Martin Short. But, yeah, highly recommend it. And Sam could attest to that. We like it. We're going to start the second season.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, no, it's, like I said, it's cleaning up with rewards.
I think
it just got
okayed for a third season as well. And they're in the middle of their second season right now. So, check it out, guys. If you've already seen it, let me know what you think. That's our replay watch. And Tyler's going to tell you what we got in store for the next episode, what we're doing.
Next episode will release August 8th. We're going to do Prey. Coming to Hulu August 5th.
Yes.
And we're actually going to do something kind of different with that. We're going to do kind of like, we're going to watch it live for the first time, and then we're going to just come in here and just record straight away. So you're going to get like our actual kind of live reaction, not sitting there making a ton of notes about it and thinking about it.
Matty.
Well, that's him. I'm gonna be watching the movie, so I don't worry about
no,
that.
I won't do notes. It'll be notes like...
You should have seen this motherfucker watching Obi-Wan.
Not even
I was the same way. I was pausing it.
Not even that. Fucking Stranger Things was hard to do. And I was like,
shows are tough. Shows are very, very tough. But the movie, yes. So basically, we're just gonna kind of watch it. Since it just comes out on Hulu on the 5th, we're going to just watch it and then come right in here and record an episode about it. Because I'm a big Predator guy. I think Prey looks really good. And
got a standing ovation at Comic-Con.
Yeah, everyone gets standing ovations. But I'm happy with it. The weird thing is like, what they said is like, Comic-Con's one of the only places you're ever going to see that movie on theaters. That's the crazy thing. Is they're not having any kind of theatrical release. So like, that's the weird thing is like, they're the only ones that ever kind of saw it on theaters. And it's a very weird thing when you think about it, considering that Hulu I think is owned by FX, which is owned by Disney. Mm-hmm. So it's like they put everything else in theaters. They just kind of trying to kill the FX brand in a way of like putting out things in theaters, and it's just gonna. So it's you can look a lot into it. There's a lot of articles going on about it because it's just a really interesting play. But we're gonna cover it. So
yeah. Right. So your homework is watch it by August 8th. Comes out on the 5th, like Tyler said. In the meantime, if you guys want to catch us up anywhere else, Sam's going to let you know where we could do that.
Yes, go to YouTube. You can find us there at No Nerds Were Harmed. We don't do video for every episode, but we at least got audio on there, so you can go there and take a listen if that's your go-to. Come hang out on Facebook, Twitter. Our Facebook page is No Nerds Were Harmed. Twitter is @NNWHpod. On both, you can catch some nerd news, updates, polls, fan cast picks, anything, whatever the moment takes us. Feel free to give us some feedback on either of those platforms, start some discussions, and let us know what kind of nerd you're hoping for in an episode. We would love to cover what you want, and maybe it'll introduce us to something new as well. We're always looking for that. If you want to follow our personal Twitters, you can find Maddie at thematman22. Tyler is Gambit the Goon, and I am Samwise1227. Gamers, go watch Tyler play Arkham Knight. Gambit the Goon as well on Twitch. And if you're already listening to us, which you are if you hear my voice right now, thank you. We appreciate all of our support, everybody who keeps listening to us, waiting for new episodes. We're very, very humbled by it. The best thing you can do for us is please go tell your friends. Tell us they can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, whatever. We appreciate any form of listening.
That's right. And that's all we got for you guys. I hope you enjoyed the episode. We enjoyed recording it. We had a fun time. But we'll see you next time. Until then, stay nerdy. I'm Maddie.
I'm Tyler. Catch you on the next one.